Ooh. We are just waiting to see who arrives tonight. Hopefully you guys can hear me. We are filming in my living room today as opposed to my dining room like I normally do, just because I wanted a change of scenery. And yeah, it's actually kind of, like, you probably can't tell, but it's actually kind of dim in here just because there's not an overhead light. So, but that's okay. And anytime somebody shows up, feel free to drop me a comment. I have some stuff that I want to go over tonight, but yeah, normally these are pretty organic and we just kind of get off into a few tangents here and there, but we'll see who shows up tonight. It is, what day is it? It's Thursday, so we're kind of in the middle of the week. Normally I do these on the weekend, but I was kind of busy this past Sunday, so I thought, well, we'll do it in the middle of the week and see if that maybe works better for some people. It really makes no difference to me just because of the way my work schedule falls, so yeah. Ooh, that bumps really easily, wow. I'm using a little folding table, and it's not like the most stable thing in the world. So like it's sometimes when I barely touch it, it kind of bumps a little bit, but hey, Leafier, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm a little hungry, but Wes is gonna cook here in a little bit, so that's good. Oh, he's on his other account. Okay, good. The only thing I'm not liking right now is that the camera, I feel like the camera keeps trying to adjust for some reason. I feel like it can't decide what it wants to do. I don't know. I feel like the lighting's not good enough. Possibly. Thanks, Leafier. Yeah, we're mixing it up a little bit tonight. We decided to film in the living room just because I don't know. I get kind of bored doing the dining room all the time. I mean, it's easier to do just because it's all already set up, but yeah, I would maybe just look at the lighting just because I think it's trying to focus on the background because the background's like as well lit as I am.
It's also you're a little more.
We're just doing some adjustments here, figuring this out. Is it still doing it?
I just turned you up brighter.
That's bizarre. Hi, Christian. It's not doing it as bad.
Yeah, I'll just turn you up a little brighter.
Well, why don't you? Okay, that's fine.
It just needs more light on you. I'm gonna scoot the camera just a little.
Okay, let me flip this around. Well, what?
Okay.
The last time I went live was, let's see, 2 weeks ago from this past Sunday. Well, I don't remember. I thought I made a post about it. I thought maybe you saw it, but
Okay, that's fine. See if that works better.
okay. You can't have it in my face though.
Come on, just turn it off to the side. Told you already contacts.
Find contacts that don't dry out my eyes.
For an hour.
Be a couple hours. Okay. Your painting always reminds me of the cover, Duran Duran. I don't think I know that specific cover. I mean, I know the band, but I don't know that specific album.
Is it trying to focus still?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were just too dark.
Yeah. Blue, silver. Okay. Yeah. Those look like they changed. Did you just change the color on those?
No, why?
Did you turn off lights?
I turned the top one down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
it up?
No, it doesn't mess it up. It just looks like I'm recording in the dark. But
In the dark. Oh.
yeah. I have not. I've heard of grow folds. I don't think I've checked out grow folds yet. But yeah, it's totally fine if you're in a couple of different chats. No worries. And then Christian, the story with the painting is we went to a furniture store. Like we kept like winning these contests and things and getting like credit there. And we were kind of in the middle of like furnishing our first house, and that painting was always in a little alcove as you went up the escalator. And Wes was always like, oh, I love that painting. I love that painting. And then one time we won like a $500 gift certificate or something. Well, yeah, we won a couple, but like I think this one was like 500. So it wasn't quite enough to buy any furniture. So then I'm like, why don't we just go and buy that painting? Like it's huge, whatever. Let's just buy it. Like it's something we've always looked at. Let's just do it. So she's moved around a couple of places, but we just call her the Green Lady. She always looks very intrigued by something. But yeah. Actually, speaking of other channels, if you guys have not checked out Planty Mandy, she used to be kind of a regular here. She has her own channel now, and she posts videos pretty often. I need to catch up on some of her videos, but she has a kind of a quirky personality, kind of in the way Plantarina did. So I like watching her. Hopefully, she's doing well. If you're watching this, Mandy, I miss you. But yeah. I'm kind of in the middle of yeah, Christian, R.I.P. She tried to do that new channel or whatever, and I don't think it went anywhere. And I don't know the full story of what happened with all of that, but it's unfortunate because she had a lot of followers. She may have had the most subscribers of any like plant channel on YouTube. I don't know who would be number one now. I know Nick Pegley. I can't pronounce his last name, but he has a lot. He has over 500,000, I think. You guys are in that world a lot more than I am. You know what I mean? So. Nick and Sydney plant guy. Oh, okay. Kaylee Ellen. Okay. It's just interesting to me because like
She just won't shut up. It's my ear.
Oh, okay. It's just interesting to me because I've never heard of either of them. Not that it's not like I never use YouTube, but I don't know, like if I'm looking like at plant channels on YouTube, I'm after something so specific that sometimes, certain channels won't cover things that are that specific. But yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Leaf, you're gonna be the liaison then if you watch a bunch of plant channels. I mean, the ones I've seen, I've seen Nick kind of recently. There was another guy, I can't think of what his. I don't think it's Growfolds. He's it's a gentleman, and he has a goatee, and he has like huge monsteras, and he's always giving like tips about how to like grow plants. I don't think it's Growfolds. Anyway, those two guys themselves have so many plants. It's kind of crazy. I mean, if it's not like Plantarina where some of those plants weren't actually hers, I guess. But yeah, I'm like they must spend so much time watering, assuming they don't have some sort of irrigation system set up. But I'm close to my goal of like how many plants I want to get rid of. I think I just need to offload maybe like 3 or 4 more, and then I'll feel pretty comfortable with the amount I have. I actually have some here that either I've gotten recently or done some cuttings on, but yeah. uh, I just don't know if I have room for all that, but good evening, Elenita. I believe that's Elenita. Hopefully you're doing well. Wow. Okay, so I have a couple of questions that we can start with while we're just kind of getting situated here. Um, I went and bought this recently because it was kind of a Valentine's Day in kind of a cool Valentine's Day pot. And I mean, I like this. This is just the pinstripe Calathea. But I had a friend telling me that this is actually more difficult to take care of than like the Calathea that we know as a peacock plant that has the round leaves and you know, they come in a few different colors and patterns and everything. I can't remember what the species of those are off the top of my head, but they're always labeled as like peacock plant. But my friend was like, "Oh yeah, the pinstripe is way harder to take care of than that." I mean, it's done okay for me so far, but Leaf Year says that his is doing all right. Yeah, well, a lot of Calatheas got reclassified into Goapertia, but I just couldn't think of the actual species name. I know that round one is definitely Goapertia because I had an Orbifolia, which is the green round one that has like the, I mean, I featured it on my video, I think, but I ended up getting rid of that just because, I don't know. I think the heater was starting to get it because it was starting to get really brown, but so far I've been trying to take better care of this one. And I mean, I do like the pink stripes. I know they don't really stay pink necessarily. As it gets older and the leaves get older, they kind of turn a little bit more white, depending on how much light you're giving it. But yeah, it was, well, actually, was it near the heater? I thought I had closed off that vent, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I did, but it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your experience, if any, has been with this one, but I think I've seen them get pretty big. I've seen them get pretty bushy. I mean, you can see back here I've got my Tenanthe, and this Tenanthe is actually a pretty good size. You're gonna make me ask about that one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Wes has a question too. Um, so we bought this totem pole cactus, and I think this is Pachyserius, but when we bought this totem pole cactus, it was about right here. And since then, since it's been growing, the growth has steadily gotten more and more bizarre. And now it's just like, as it's grown in, it's just been brown. Yeah, similar to the boob cactus. Not the exact boob cactus, but close. But it just, I don't know why. It always got plenty of light and everything, and I always kept it watered. But it started getting really funky growth on it like this. Somebody told me once that they thought it was corking, but I've never had another cactus do this. It's only been this one, and I've had a lot of cacti. But I don't know. I don't really know why I did that. I'm thinking, what I'm gonna do is probably just chop it and just kind of start over with it a little bit. Just because I don't really want to get rid of it necessarily, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of kept an eye out just to see if there were any pests or anything, and I thought, well, maybe it's some sort of like fungus. And I mean, I've washed it and I've kind of like, but I mean, it just doesn't seem to do any. It's not getting any worse necessarily. Like once it grew brown like that, then it just stopped. Like I don't know, it just really weird, I think. But it's just kind of unfortunate because I've seen these get big, like these get very tall, and they get very thick. But of course, cacti grow very slowly, so you know those tend to cost a lot more. But I thought, well, we'll just start with the little one, and it's just been kind of a pain in the butt. But I do think I just need to go get a good knife, like a good sharp knife, and I'm just gonna just take that right off. And I don't know if it'll branch. I don't think it'll branch, but I mean, we'll just see. We'll see what happens. And if it doesn't make it, well, we tried. At least we did something, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's just, and that brown doesn't scrape off of there either, because I've tried like scrubbing it. I've tried like gently like scraping it. It just doesn't do anything. Yeah, I thought that, you know, if it did branch, I think that that would be kind of ideal just because it would make it a little bit more of a unique piece than just, you know, one big column, which is cool too. Like, it's just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But yeah. Hmm. What are you doing up there?
Watching you.
Nope. Are you making food?
Yeah.
Okay. Yay. Um, okay, so Hoyas. Now, I've had amazing luck with my Hoya obovata. I got it to flower last year. It's just getting new growth, and the leaves are coming in nice and like round and dark, beautiful. So then somebody recommends me to get this other Hoya, and they're like, "Oh, this one will flower. It'll be amazing. It's gonna be awesome." And I've shown it before, my little shooting star Hoya. I think it's Hoya multiflora. And like I've featured the flowers a couple of times, how they're coming in. They still haven't bloomed, and it's been like a month. And actually, if you guys notice, there's not very many flowers left. Like they've actually started falling off before they bloom. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know what's going on with it. Like I've been giving it the same consistent care that I was giving it when it started to bloom, and for some reason it's just deciding that it doesn't want these flowers anymore. So I don't know. It's kind of a conundrum because I was really excited for the flowers to bloom. I can't remember if Christian likes Hoyas or not. I know that there's people that are with me that are like Hoyas, whatever, but then there's other people that are like, oh my God, Hoyas. Okay, that answers my question about whether or not Christian likes Hoyas. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Like if it actually drops all these flowers and it doesn't bloom a single one, I'll probably just give it to my friend. Oven's preheated. I'll probably just give it to my friend because he's really good about like taking my plants and he'll either keep them for himself or he'll take them to a local greenhouse because it's closer to him than it is to me, and or he'll like distribute them to people he knows. So at least they're getting like a decent home. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's annoying because I've seen pictures of these flowers and they're beautiful, but yeah. Well, Leafier, if you were, well, no, I don't want to say that I would take him if we lived closer to each other because then, you know, then I'd have too many again. But I used to sell, I will sell some of them. Like some of them I'll keep the pots I got them in. And, you know, if it's like an experiment and I want to see how it does, I'll keep the pot. And if in like 30 days I'm not like really satisfied with how it's doing, I'll actually just return it because somebody will buy it, right? But, like if it's something like this that I got at a greenhouse, actually, I could maybe sell this one just because it's not super common. But a lot of times the plants I end up having are things like, oh, here's this, you know, this maidenhair fern or something, and it's like nobody wants to buy that. So it's basically either give it to somebody or trash it. Which actually the maidenhair fern in my terrarium is doing pretty well. But yeah. So we'll see. We'll see about this. I mean, I am in the market for getting rid of a couple more plants. I kind of wanted this one to do well, but how many are left on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And when I originally counted, I think it was like almost 30. I think there were almost 30 blooms on it. So, I don't know. And I mean, I just would have figured by now, you know, 30 days, the thing should have bloomed by now. I don't know if it's because it's winter and it's just like, it thought it wanted to do it and then it's like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But Ooh, give that a little shake. I have, I've shown you guys in the past, I have a philodendron, I think it's Atabapoense. Um, it's got long leaves like this, and I went to water it, and I went to kind of move it to kind of adjust it, because I need to stake it up, right? Like it's ready to be staked up so that it can start to climb. And I noticed when I went to do that, a piece of it had broken off. So I'm like, okay. So I just went ahead and did cuttings. And they are not quite rooting yet. But I've taken cuttings of it before, and they do root easily enough. So what I'll probably do is I'll just put these back in the pot and just kind of make it, fill it out a little bit more. But I found this plant originally, I think it was at a hardware store. I don't know if you guys live someplace where there's a hardware store called Ace. And Ace Hardware actually gets in houseplants sometimes. Certain stores do. And at one point, I think it was either last summer or 2 summers ago, they had a whole bunch of like really kind of medium rare houseplants. Like this one, they had like that Sangonium, that ice Sangonium I have. They had a bunch of different ficus plants, Philodendron gloriosum, for maybe like 30 bucks. Like it wasn't a bad deal for what you're getting. So, but I haven't been able to, I need to go back to that Ace actually. Yes, Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folk or whatever it is. But yeah, I actually gave some cuttings of my last one to my friend that I give plants to because he's like, oh, I don't have one of these. I'm like, well, here you go. But yeah, I don't have very many philodendrons just because, I don't know, philodendrons are kind of, I don't want to say that they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Not overpriced. Uh, Overrated, yeah. I don't think they're overrated necessarily, but I see them a lot, in my travels to like greenhouses. So I just don't feel compelled to own some of them because it's like, well, I just see them so much in greenhouses, why bother? But this is one philodendron I have, and I have a heartleaf that I got around the time my dad passed, so that's kind of why I kind of kept that one. But yeah, I don't know. I could be convinced to get another one probably if I found the right philodendron that was maybe just a little more unique. But oh, okay. So Christian, yeah, and Leaf here obviously know about Ace. Not every Ace has them though. Like I think there's only one store here where I'm at, and I think one store carries them of the three, because the other two don't carry them at all. And even the one that does carry them here doesn't take very good care of them, unfortunately. But yeah. What else do I have to show you guys? Let's see. Ooh, so, another quick plant story. I went to a local greenhouse. Well, it wasn't a greenhouse. It was a local plant shop, and it was a really unique experience because she had so many plants that she'd grown from cuttings of like rare plants. So I ended up paying maybe a little more than I should have for a Sangonium tricolor, which is kind of a combination of like the pink, the green, and like the white. Really beautiful plant. It did well for a while, but the actual cutting wasn't necessarily the best cutting. Like it was kind of like somebody took a cutting off of a branch, and it just, I don't know, it was never going to grow the way it needed to. Like, it was never going to be able to vine like Sangoniums want to vine. I don't actually know how she cut it because it was confusing. So finally, it started to die off, and I did some props, and I managed to get one of them to root, and here's the one leaf I saved. But if we look in there, I'm getting all kinds of new leaves. So, and actually, if you look, they're starting to variegate, or they're starting to get their color. That I got 2 leaves that have some pink. When it gets a little bit older, there might be some white, but yeah, they're really tiny and cute, and they're doing well actually. I think that this is going to be a fresh start for this plant. Like it's gonna take a while, but when spring hits here in about 3 weeks, I'm gonna fertilize this, and I think this is really gonna take off. So hopefully by the end of the season, I will have a decent, you know, decent small to medium sized Sangonium tricolor that I can actually do something with. Um, I don't expect it to get like huge necessarily. It depends. I mean, like Christian just said, colored Sangoniums are a little more slow growing. Um, so yeah, it just kind of depends on how much green is in the leaves. I had an albo that I gave away, and the albo actually did pretty well as far as growing goes. But that's a little different because it's not like a colored leaf, like say, you know, like the pink Sangonium's pink, you know, so there's like hardly any green in there. But the, you know, the albo is like half and half white and green. So it has a lot of rich green that it can use for photosynthesis. So we'll just kind of see how this tricolor does, but I'm excited about it. I mean, I can't believe it that it actually took. Didn't think it would, but it's always kind of exciting when something like that happens. Um, but yeah. How did you guys like the fruit video? It seemed like a lot of people were interested in that. And it was interesting for me to actually go back and do that research and go shopping for all of this food that I don't normally eat. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm assuming that some of you watched it. I think I know Leaf you did. I think Christian did too. Okay, that's fine. We can try that. Well, because I can look at the computer. I think it was Ricky. I don't know if you guys, I know some of you read the comments, but Ricky, he shows up here sometimes, but he always comments, and he said, I'm gonna have to rewatch this video for all of the juicy information. I thought that was kind of funny. Actually, Leafier, I just chopped up that lemon today, and I'm using the slices to like infuse some water just for like some lemon water. And I took out, I think, 3 seeds out of this lemon, and I went ahead and planted them. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm gonna keep it watered. It's sitting under a bright grow light, and we'll see, you know, maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, if I can get some sprouts from those. I have a lime too that I'm gonna do it with, but I just haven't opened the lime yet. Are they pretty good? Did you buy that Texas Roadhouse honey butter? I want that. Here in a little bit, I actually have the mango that I bought, and I'm pretty sure this is ready to eat. But I have never tried fresh mango, so I thought that might be fun to just dice this up on our live stream here and see if it's good. Yeah, legumes. That was one that I forgot. Like I've heard the word before, obviously, and you know some people over associate the word legumes with like just vegetables in general, but it's a very kind of specific botanical term. But yeah, you know, not everybody gets that deep into you know what we're doing. Excuse me. And actually, Sylv dropped in a comment like about the cherries, about how, and then what was the other thing he said? The coconut. Like I didn't know that the coconut has actually lost its exocarp, and I think the mesocarp too, but it's still a drupe somehow. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And beans, it probably depends on the bean, I guess, but I don't know. I don't think all beans are fruit necessarily. Somebody follow up with that if I'm wrong, but I don't. It kind of like nuts. Like not all nuts are fruit. Like peanuts and cashews are something different because they don't actually. They're not. They're not like. You know what I mean? Like I think those are the actual seeds, not the fruit. Oh, they're so good though. Yeah, yeah. I don't actually eat that many beans besides jelly beans. But beans are kind of hard on your system to digest. So yeah, that's part of the reason for the gas. But I like, green beans. Green beans are a fruit. Like that's straight up a fruit. But like lima beans or kidney beans, I don't know. Are they good?
Yeah.
You didn't have to put it in a big cup. Where did you even get that cup? Thank you. Okay. Love you. So we need to think of. Let's think of a quick thing to discuss so that I can stuff one of these croissants in my mouth. Um, so we were doing the fruit. I think. So let's take a quick vote, sort of. Maybe not vote, but so I think the next video I'm going to do this week is either going to be on like kind of basic plant anatomy. So, things like the node, the internode, the things like that. I did one on flowers, but I want to do the actual plant. So we should either do plant anatomy or we can get into more like plant physiology. So now we're talking about like the physiological processes that plants do, like photosynthesis, or how plants take in water through their roots. We get into things like turgor pressure and why plants stay upright. Kind of maybe some of the plant cell stuff. Yeah, physiology is usually the more complicated of those two subjects, but oh, here. And I mean, we're not going to go crazy. Like, there's a chemical formula for photosynthesis. Like, we probably don't need to go there necessarily, but just a general idea of what happens, during some of these processes. I think it's just useful stuff to know, because you start to connect the dots with like why your plants behave a certain way. Why why is it a good idea to dust your plant's leaves, in the spring when they're getting ready to actively grow? Well, part of the reason is so that, the leaves are clean so they can absorb more, sunlight for photosynthesis. But also, it helps clean out the stomata on the leaves, which are kind of like pores on people, because those stomata need to be clean and open so that they can respirate. Because plants, after they undergo photosynthesis, they use the stomata to kind of get rid of excess moisture, but that's also where they release oxygen. So it's just good, it's just good to have them nice and clean, which I need to do desperately. Like some of my plants are very dusty, but I'm just gonna wait maybe 2 more weeks and then I'm gonna do that. Wow, that's really good. You guys know what Texas Roadhouse is? We found at Walmart, we found a little tub of Texas Roadhouse honey butter. So good. Random fact about that. The first Texas Roadhouse was in Clarksville, Indiana, which is about 30 minutes from where I'm from originally. And I never knew that until years later. Because I remember, like, my mom loved Texas Roadhouse, and we would go down there maybe once a month or something, and it would just be this big deal. And the wait time was ridiculous. Like, we would literally go there, put our name in, go shopping for like 2 hours, and then come back, and it would be like, then our table's ready. But yeah. Yeah, and the first Papa John's, it wasn't in Clarksville, but it's close. It's somewhere in Louisville. So it's just kind of weird that like a couple of these big like chain places originated from kind of close to where I'm from. But is it on the Indiana side? I just didn't know where it was because I know it wasn't Clarksville, but I just can't remember. Oh no, it was Jeffersonville. Yeah, I think it was Jeffersonville. Yeah. I have Papa John's in the fridge right now, actually. I might heat that up later. But but yeah. Leaf, Christian, you guys seem to be the ones dropping the most text here. What do you think? What should the next video be? For now, yeah. Kind of. I don't want to eat all this bread yet because it's so good. I want to tear into this mango because I really want to try it. And I have a friend that lives in Venezuela, or well, he doesn't live there anymore, but he loves mangoes, and he's like, "You've never had a mango? Like, you need to try one." So here we go. Well, Leaf, you need to start writing those down because I still have a pretty good list. It's not like as extensive in a list as when I was doing like the plant care series, but I mean, I I just like the videos I want to do are kind of extensive, so I haven't. It's not something I can just sit down and be like, oh, I'm just gonna record this real quick. Like the fruit one, I had to actually like do my homework and kind of get back to school with it a little bit because I want to make sure I'm presenting, the information as authentically as I can. Christian says, I'm interested in how they respirate during day-night cycles because some need total darkness to rest. That's true. Uh, and when we're kind of getting into that a little bit, you start talking about, we were talking about stomata. Well, most plants, they close their stomata at night to kind of prevent water loss. But cacti and desert plants are the opposite. They close them during the day so that the sun doesn't like bake them, you know what I mean? And they open them at night. And aquatic plants, their stomata are just open all the time. Like they have no reason to close them, so they're just always open. And that may not apply to every aquatic plant, but in general, that's kind of how they are. But yeah, the circadian rhythm of plants is really interesting, especially when you get into even like prayer plants, how they kind of actually put up their leaves at night, like they're praying. I mean, that's where they get that name from. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Ooh, this thing cuts weird. Interesting. Okay. Well, let me ask. Leaf here said that they got a terrarium kind of recently, and now they have four. So, when you say that you have a terrarium, do you actually have it like planted, like you put dirt in it and everything, and like your plants are actually planted in the dirt? Let's do one more cut on this thing. Funny about water plants because lilies will close at night. Now oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that park that I'm going to. That's Wes, by the way, guys. Digital Ghost, that's Wes. He's been experimenting with making music with AI. So he made, kind of remade his account there. Um, what were we just talking about? Yeah, there's that pond that little park that I was at in that most recent short I made, there's a pond there that has a bunch of water lilies on it, and they always close up at night. Because I used to go there after work, and I'd be like, dang, they're already closed because it'd be like 6 or 7 o'clock. But yeah. Leaf here says 3 planted with soil directly in the container, but 1 is in a pot inside a glass display. Excuse me. And that's how my one terrarium is, Leaf. It's the one that just has the pot sitting in it. Because it's a different level of terrarium maintenance when you've got it directly planted. Hello, Kirsten. How are you? Yeah, Wes has been at that for a while now. Well, not a while, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. Where can I set this? I feel like I'm not there. We're gonna set it right there. Well, when you work at Walmart. Okay, guys. Oh. The mango, yeah. So I've never had mango before, and I did a video on the different types of fruit recently. So I went and bought, kind of a basket of produce from a grocery store, and kind of went over the different types of fruit. And now I'm having to eat it. And some of the stuff I've just never tried before, so I figured I'd try mango for you guys. I mean, it smells good. I like things that are flavored like mango, so mango should be good too, right? Hmm. It's hmm. Okay, I gotta process that. Well, yeah, Leaf. So I did notice when I was actually cutting it, like I noticed that there was a textural difference from like peeling an apple, for instance, or whatever. Like it almost like slid through like butter in a way. Kirsten says my favorite in a salsa with salmon. Oh, with salmon. That's interesting. I've had mango salsa before. Mango salsa is actually really good. I've also had apricot salsa, kind of a nice sweet flavor to the salsa. It's pretty good. Let's try another piece. Yeah, just as I'm cutting it, I'm like, wow, that's kind of a bizarre texture. Um, yeah. Oh shit, I got it. Mm. Not how to use. That's gonna be the title of this stream. Oh look, the TV started doing things. How not to use a knife. That's right. It almost it almost has the flavor of like, well, maybe not the flavor. It kind of has the texture of a peach. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I like it actually. I mean, I could see, I could see where using this to flavor things would be good, but actually just like eating it like this, I don't know if I'm as big of a fan. I mean, it's not bad. I'm not like, I'm not like grossed out by it or anything. Do you want to try a piece of this? Don't fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
Here. It's not bad. It's just
I'd eat it.
well, you can.
Okay, just change the picture, that's all.
Oh, okay.
I need to pay some mom yet.
Did you do that or did the?
No, the TV did.
Oh, okay. I'm just, you know what? I'm just a sucker for things like bananas, so I'm just kind of spoiled by that, or peaches or apples.
Why are you eating it with a knife?
I'm gonna take it off of that. You just need to not worry about it.
You don't like it?
I don't really. I just don't know. It just has an interesting
Too
flavor.
fleshy.
No.
No?
No, it's not a texture thing. It has the texture like a peach.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't need another one. Where's Merlin? I hear him. You're fine. I don't know if you guys noticed, Athena is just chilling on the couch back here because there's no room on the table for her to hang out. Dina. Dina. She's like, oh, I'm here. Don't worry. Okay. Let me think. What else? Well, maybe a different mango would be better then. I don't know actually what kind this is, but yeah. I chopped up that lemon earlier, and I actually ate some of that just because I don't know why not. And like it's super sour, but it's not unbearably sour. And I don't know if I just maybe have a higher tolerance for like sour things, but it just almost felt like you were eating a tart orange. It was like really tart, but I don't know. It wasn't bad. I don't think you're supposed to just eat lemons too often though, because I think the acid's bad for your teeth. But yeah. So I took most of the slices and I'm just like making some lemon water out of them.
Ask them if they like that sound in the background.
Wes wants to know if you guys like the sound in the background, if you can hear it. I don't hear it.
So
Just that little bit of music. Oh, that's interesting with the bugs, yeah. Leaf says, if you ever get flavorless blueberries, you can squeeze lemon juice to restore their flavor. Oh, that's interesting. Oof. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I just don't really like that. Christian says he can't hear anything. Well, you know, like, yeah, like these.
When you're not talking, it's just dead silence.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. It's almost like, it almost sounds like, I don't know if you can hear it. It almost sounds like a flute or something. It almost sounds like I'm getting ready to get a massage. Like they always play like that tranquil music. But I just don't think it's loud enough for the mic to pick it up. Oh, okay. No, I agree. Oh, okay, yeah. We were actually doing a little bit of not a jam session yesterday, but I had some friends over and I didn't realize one of them actually plays instruments. And I mean, I play piano and I play a little bit of trumpet and a little bit of flute. I'm trying to learn the banjo a little bit. Like, so I like knowing a little bit of a lot of things. And so we had all these instruments out yesterday that, I don't know, Wes didn't even remember some of them that we had them. the other thing I was going to kind of talk about is like it's been warmer here. It's actually been in the 60s Fahrenheit, which is a very comfortable temperature, especially for February, which is typically the worst month of winter. Like February is probably my least favorite month of the year. It's just like I don't know. It just too it's too cold. It's too dark. It's not Christmas anymore. So I'm grateful that we're getting into March, but I'm kind of planning ahead on when I'm going to fertilize the first time for the season. I'm thinking it'll probably be maybe the first weekend after spring, just because like official spring. I think it's like March 21st or 20th. Uh, and that way, I'll probably do like a half, like diluted by half fertilizer just to kind of transition my plants into it. And then first week of April, I'll probably just hit them full and watch the results. I also need to adjust my timers on my lights because every month I change the timer on the lights so that it kind of matches outside a little bit. So I'll add another hour of light to my grow lights so that it kind of, mimics the sun a little bit. Nothing to do with daylight savings, just in general, like moving the light forward a little bit. Linux says, hello Linux, by the way. Linux says, mangoes have always been strange for me as well. Chalky, sweet. I think most mangoes they use for Thai salads and sauces aren't fully ripe. Interesting. Okay. Well, I forgot that they put mango in salads. Yeah, that's true. I don't know though. Like even mango salsa, like the apricot salsa I had tasted, in my opinion, better just because it had a more pronounced sweetness to it, as opposed to kind of that more subtle kind of, I don't know, kind of tropical flavor. I don't know. Like I said, it's not bad. It's just not for me. Believe here does the same. Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of came up with the grow light thing this year, or well, maybe last year, just to kind of not be so abrupt with like my light changes. Like I would always pull it back in the winter time, but it would just be instant. It would be like, oh, one day they get, let's say, 16 hours of light, and then the next day they get 12 hours of light for the next 4 months. So it's just, plants plants are very resilient, and most plants, but it's still nice to kind of treat them accordingly. Treat them the way they might be treated in nature, and not be so like harsh with them. Not put them to the test. I guess I say as I don't water my plants enough. It's okay. And then, we talk about getting ready for spring and everything. At some point, I want to put some of my plants outside, but I'll probably wait for that definitely until April, just so that I know that we don't dip too low in temperature at night or get any surprise frosts or anything. Um, Basically, when the nights start staying consistently above 50 degrees. Yeah, probably 50. But I mean, how do some of you guys do it? Like, what are some of your methods for like transitioning into the growing season? Because we're getting ready to. It's coming up. Unless you live in, Elenita lives in Puerto Rico, um, and so like that's kind of always the growing season there, basically. Yeah, and that's perfectly fair. I mean, it's perfectly fair just to leave them at 12-12. I mean, it doesn't hurt them. If anything, you're just mimicking the weather on the equator. And I mean, the truth is, if there's one thing that plants do like, it's consistency. consistency in light, consistency in watering, just consistency even in humidity. I mean, even a difference, a sudden shift in humidity can be harsh on some plants. So it's just something to be aware of. Yeah, yeah. Really? Okay. You have a hibiscus inside that never knows the season? Like, are you able to get it to flower inside? Hmm. I mean, obviously, hibiscus inside is not necessarily a traditional houseplant, but I do like doing that sometimes with other plants. Like plants that maybe either you typically think of them being as outside, or maybe you just don't think of them as being houseplants. I like trying to experiment and like find what you can do inside. Oh, okay. And I mean, some plants you just can't keep inside. It just doesn't work. But uh, there are some that are in a gray area where it's like, okay, maybe you can do it, especially some things if you put them outside and then you kind of overwinter them inside, you can have a little more flexibility with things like gardenias, for instance, or jasmine. Something that, I mean, it can be tricky to keep inside all the time. Even like, I think I've even heard people like keeping hydrangeas and stuff, just overwintering them and then putting them back outside in the summer. That way, the extreme cold doesn't kill them because these are plants that, if you're in, let's say, like me, in the central United States, those plants don't grow naturally here because it gets too cold. Regardless of the amount of light, regardless of the amount of rain, like just the temperature just dips too much. Although we don't really get much rain here either, so uh, that can definitely have an impact when we're talking about stuff outside. Just because there's a beautiful tree called a Magnolia grandiflora, and it has maybe one of the prettiest smelling flowers ever, besides maybe jasmine. And they can grow here, like they would get plenty of light here, and they are slightly winter hardy, but it just doesn't rain enough. Like they need like a good amount of rain. That's why they mostly grow in like more of the southern US where it's just a little more rainy. There is a couple here, but they're very diminutive, to use a kind word, I guess. They're kind of they just don't have the same height that they would have if they were getting rain more often. Christian says some species need to be wintered like roses. Yeah, yeah, roses are another one. Uh, Magnolia Figo. We'll have to look that one up. But overwintering though, I mean, Christian, it sounds like you have some experience with it, but I hate messing with it. It's just, I mean, it can be fun, especially if it's a plant you really like. But in general, like I probably wouldn't have more than one or two plants at a time that I would be trying to overwinter, just because I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a hassle. I mean, just I don't know. That's just me though. That's because I'm lazy sometimes, and I keep my Goapertia next to the heater. Also, similar, maybe not quite related to plants, but I'm also looking forward to the insects coming back so that I can kind of, you know, because I am kind of into insects as well. Maybe not enough to to have a YouTube channel about it, but enough that I'm excited. It's just I that's one thing I hate about winter is it's too quiet. It's too quiet without the bugs and the birds and everything. It's just depressing, but it's okay. It's good to have a break, I guess. Sounds good, Leaf Year. Hopefully it went well. Oh, okay. Um, so Linux is from Toronto, and they bring their tropicals in, like alocasia and colocasia, and let them go dormant. Uh, of course, being in Canada, you're gonna have some extreme winter. I mean, of course, Toronto's in the south, so it's not like as bad as if you lived, you know, in the middle of like Saskatchewan, like when way far north. But yeah, that's cool. And I mean, alocasia, it of course it depends on the species, but I mean some alocasias like being houseplants, but the most alocasias I've noticed don't really. I mean, you really have to baby them, and I've only found a couple of species really that I feel like are reliable houseplants, and even then they're still not foolproof. But okay. Well, I mean, and Christian, like I didn't used to do that. Like I didn't used to put my plants outside because I was always kind of scared for them. Like I didn't want them to suffer or but it's just when you're deciding what to put outside, you just have to think about how much light they're going to get, how much heat they're going to get, the fact that they're going to dry out faster, so you're probably going to have to water them more. Um, and just be aware of what kind of plant it is. You don't put a calathea outside during the summer. Like if you live in a place where it's going to be like really super hot. Um, but something like, for example, one plant that did really well for me last year was my strelitzia, which is right there. It has a big leaf right there. It loved it, and it because strelitzia is one of those plants that it craves direct sun. Makes a great house plant. It can do well in kind of bright indirect light, medium light conditions, but it really craves that direct sun. That's why it has those gigantic leaves. Those things are just huge solar panels, basically. So I'm excited to put it back out because I know it wants that. And not to like go crazy about strelitzia, but like they're not super sensitive to like humidity either, and they can miss a watering sometimes and they're fine. Like they're actually really reliable houseplants compared to something like musa, the banana tree, which is you're basically just wasting your money, just because musa is just kind of hard to take care of inside. Like it's not easy. And palms too. I mean, I would consider palms to be like an intermediate plant. There are a couple species of palms or genera of palms that are very easy, and I've had great luck with them. And then there's certain genera of palms where I'm like, wow, that went terribly. That laid a huge egg, and it was a waste of money. But it's okay. Sometimes that's just how you have to do it. Christian killed an ivy, yeah. And funny thing about ivy, I think we talked about this in a live stream before, but how some of our houseplant species, well, they're all the Hedera mostly, but some of our varieties of houseplant ivies do so poorly outside, or they just die so easily. But then there's some Hedera helix. Like there's one out by my front door right now in the neighbor's yard, and it was green even when there was snow on the ground, and this thing was still green. It just doesn't make any sense. But then my one in here, I miss a watering in my kitchen and half the leaves turn brown and it dies. What else do we got? Leafier says he's on the hunt for an ivy for a group challenge. What is the group challenge, out of curiosity? Yeah. But I wonder though, Christian, like, are there certain ones I wonder if you could bring them inside and they would do as well? Uh, Already bought some clippings from inside. They don't count. I want a variegated one. It has to be under $10. A variegated ivy under $10. That shouldn't be too hard. I guess it depends on how big of an ivy you're looking for. Because I mean, I could probably go to Lowe's right now and get a variegated ivy for like $6. Yeah, you can. I mean, ivy's one of those things where it's so easy to grow that they can't really overcharge for it. And because, I would consider ivy, and we're still talking about English ivy, like, I would consider ivy an intermediate plant also, just because of the fact that it does get pests pretty easily, and you do kind of have to stay on top of the watering and the humidity. So it's not like, it's not a philodendron where you can just neglect it and it does great. It's just you kind of got to stay on top of them. And I mean, I could say that about all plants in the Aralia family, just because plants in the Aralia family tend to be just a little more finicky. Which reminds me, the next time I do go to a greenhouse, I would like to try to pick up a Fatsia, just because it's been a couple of years since I had one, and I do love how Fatsia looks. Has some really cool variegation patterns. They just are extremely prone to spider mites, but I don't know. I want to give it a try again. I do that sometimes. Well, I mean, I think it depends on the plant. Some outdoor clippings, it's going to be like trying to bring in a stray cat and make it domestic. Like there's just a decent chance it's not going to work because it's used to being outside. But I don't know. I think some plants can adapt better than others. Yeah, because we really take it for granted just how much humidity is outside compared to our houses. Like it's just crazy. True. But I would venture to say there's probably still more humidity like uh, than a home being heated by central heating, in the middle of winter. I mean, even with my humidifiers running, there were days where my humidity got down to like 30%. Like, and that's low. Now we're talking, yeah, now we're talking like Texas humidity. We're pushing like desert. Because the thing is, even in the desert, there's humidity. Like, there's no place on earth where there's 0% humidity. There's always something. But, it's just, it's not conducive to, healthy plant growth unless it's designed, like a desert plant. But Lennox says English ivy is pretty invasive here. As an outdoor plant, there's reason people there's a reason people plant it, because nothing kills it. Yeah. There was a great meme that it's like a picture of power lines, and it looks like a weed or something growing on one of the power lines, and it's like it says plants outside, and then it says, oh, plants inside. Oh, if you look at me the wrong way, I'll die. And that's how ivy is. I feel like ivy is so successful outside, but inside, not so much. Hi, Steven. Don't worry about being late. It's fine. We're just glad you're here. We've been discussing our plans for spring and eating fruits that I didn't like and talking about some of my plant woes, but it's fine. Dandelion living on concrete while rows are frail, yeah. Oh, I'm excited for dandelions. Yay. Yeah. Yep. And dandelion as a flower, as a plant, is cool because all parts of the plant are edible. I mean, they've got health properties to them. I mean, we call them weeds, but we could do worse. I mean, imagine if stinging nettle was as, widespread as dandelions are. That would be a problem. But I know they taste disgusting, but I don't know. I think broccoli tastes disgusting. People still eat it. Yeah, the violets, and there's probably several species, but I've seen the wild violets I think you're talking about, and I don't really have a yard here because this is part of an HOA. But like my first house I lived in, I had a backyard, and every spring, and even during the summer, like it was always fun to just kind of go and just look at like the different species and flowers and things. Even in your own backyard, there's probably at least a dozen different species of plants. Well, unless your grass is like totally manicured and you just keep it nothing but grass. But like that, my yard, it was just it was almost like a little wildflower field at times. So I know my neighbors probably thought I was crazy because I'm sitting here crawling around taking pictures of stuff and like looking at things, but whatever. Um, it's fine. Nettles are edible too. Well, stepping on them is not very fun. I know that. What's another one that wild strawberries? That's another one that I used to get in the yard a lot. Those are pretty widespread. I think those are edible too, but they just don't have a ton of flavor. Leafier says I have a tons of crow's poison all over my yard. I think they're pretty but annoying. Crow's poison. I don't think I know that one. Oh, I'm recording with my phone. Let me type that in because I'm kind of curious now. Well, when you say clover, do you mean like actual like clover, like you know, 3 and 4 leaf clovers? Crow's poison plant. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen those before. I can see why you would say they would be mistaken for wild onion. Uh, Nothoscordum bivalve is the genus there and the species. It looks like. Hmm. Oh my gosh, Christian. You know, I don't have a mouse. I'm using the little thing on the little pad on the laptop. Wild onions are edible, also. I don't know why it necessarily matters, but I'm just saying. And I remember being a kid, and you see those like extra long blades of grass, and you know it's a wild onion. And I always, if anybody's ever played Super Mario, if you've played Super Mario 2 and you can like pluck vegetables out of the ground, I used to like pretend that that was a thing, you know. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever, I don't know if I've ever told anybody that. I mean, they are chive-like when you think about it. And plant ferns. Yeah, there you go. See? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Christian, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? For some reason, I thought you were older, but maybe not. And Linux says, what are your thoughts on native plants versus non-native? That's a pretty polarizing topic in gardening communities here. Mm, that's a good question. You know, I would tend to say that I'm slightly neutral, but I would say leaning towards native plants preserves native habitats. Now, I'll make an addendum to that that says if it's a plant that is not going to be invasive, I don't necessarily see the harm. If it's something that you can keep it contained somehow. Does that make sense? You know, some plants are extremely invasive, and I think it's even illegal to plant them because of how invasive they are. And the problem with that is they choke out native species, which is a bad thing, right? That's like not a good thing at all. But some things that you buy are not necessarily things that are going to be able to spread, or or they'll die at the end of the season anyway, so then why does it matter? Yeah. I don't know. Does that I don't know, does that help? That's just my opinion. You know, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but yeah, it's just you have to be careful about what you're planting. I will say that you should be careful. If it isn't native, you should be careful about what you're planting, just kind of out of respect for the environment, I guess. Okay, Christian, that makes sense because then we're only 6 years apart. So then, you know, we were both playing Nintendo in the 90s, probably. Leafier is a 40-year-old crazy plant lady. Oh, now. We're not crazy. We're just eccentric, right? Passionate. Yes, we're passionate. Just kind of continuing off of what Linux had said about like plants and invasive species. One thing that um, one thing you do have to kind of be careful of with aquatic plants is like if you have aquatic plants, like throw them and you don't want them anymore, throw them in the trash because there are some species of aquatic plants which spread so rapidly that they can quickly become a problem. Just because aquatic plants, uh, in some ways, aquatic plants are easier to take care of than terrestrial plants, just because their sort of simplistic nature makes them able to spread a lot faster. I think there's a species, well, a genus called Egeria, which is kind of it looks like a furry long tail if I'm remembering the genus right. And that can spread so rapidly and just like overtake ponds and stuff. So don't ever like throw your aquatic plants like in the pond or something, because for one thing, I think that's illegal, and for two, like it's bad. Um, like I remember when my cockroaches had babies, you know, Wes at one point was like, "Well, you should just like throw them outside." I'm like, well, "I can't do that. We're not in Madagascar. Like that's illegal." You know, suddenly there's giant roaches that establish a community in some neighborhood, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, what the heck's going on?" Yeah, hyacinth. I didn't know hyacinth was that aggressive, actually. Christian says we get duckweed, but when it can get over negative. Yeah. Yeah, duckweed's another one that spreads really quickly, even in just an aquarium. Like if you have any duckweed in your aquarium, you'll notice just how quickly duckweed spreads. And I don't know duckweed's native habitat, but there we get it on like ponds and stuff here sometimes. But a lot of the animals keep it in check just because I think they eat it, because it'll be like on the bank, but it never spreads out like too far. You're talking about water hyacinth. Okay. I'm sitting here picturing a garden full of hyacinths. I'm like, are those invasive? I didn't know that. Linux says, I think also since you mentioned interest in insects, some insects are specialists and only feed on certain plant species, so another consideration there. Yes. Yes, and not even just with insects. I mean, there's certain birds even and other forms of life that are kind of dependent on certain species of plants. I mean, that's why the ecosystem is so fragile, because it's developed a certain way, and when we start messing with it like we have as human beings, it can create problems. And some species adapt and some species don't. Now, over the course of like millennia, that's normal for that to happen. But when it happens in such a short period of time from human intervention, that stuff like that happens, it's not a good thing. But yeah. Yes, yes. Milkweed for monarch butterflies. I didn't know that was good for monarch butterflies, but monarch butterflies are, I think, officially endangered. I swear I read someplace a year or two ago that they are an endangered species now, or at the very least threatened. Um, a cloak, especially if it was like the blue ones that shimmer. What was the other thing I was going to add to that? I think like there are in Hawaii, not just in Hawaii, but in other places too, there will actually be certain flowers that are only pollinated by like one animal. Like that flower's reproductive, continuation is completely dependent on like one species of hummingbird or something. So it's like if that flower goes extinct or that hummingbird goes extinct, that's a problem. Yeah, orchids, and there's so many different types of orchids too. But plants, some plants have just developed such specific flowers that, I mean, I think like the Hawaii thing I just mentioned, I think that in order to keep that species going, they actually started hand pollinating them. Like there were people hired to go hand pollinate these flowers so that the plant didn't die out, just because from um, humans encroaching on the natural habitats and things. Oh, and here's the story I didn't tell you guys that happened very recently. I went into my bedroom to go to bed, and it's like 3 in the morning because I stay up late, and I see a shadow go flying across the wall, and I'm like, "What? What was that?" So then I'm like, so I turn on the light and there's a bat flying around the room, like around, because I have a vaulted ceiling in my bedroom and it's just flying around the top. And I was like, oh, okay, so now there's a bat in here for some reason. That's just the kind of things that happen to me. Um, and I wasn't scared because, like, yeah, Christian, like, bats are cute. Bats are just kind of like flying mice. Well, some people are scared of mice, but uh, so I woke Wes up because he was asleep, and I'm like, "There's a bat in here. Wake up! We got to get it out of here." And so he kept swooping down, and eventually I was able to get a blanket over him and kind of get him into a pet carrier for the cats I have. And for those of you who don't know, bats, at least the bats that live here, they go dormant. Go dormant, sorry, I sound like a plant. They hibernate in the wintertime and they basically stop eating. Their metabolism stops altogether. Their heartbeat slows down to like 10 beats a minute or something crazy. And they just kind of chill while it's cold. So I don't know, they're really attracted to heat sources. So I think he got in through our ceiling like ventilation thing. Um, but once he was in the pet carrier, he just went back to sleep, and he was like hibernating. So after a couple of days, when I knew it warmed up a little bit, we put him outside, and he flew off. Why did I tell that story? Oh yeah, because the bats are actually protected. Like you can't kill bats because certain bats are they're threatened, and bats eat literally thousands of insects like a night. I think it's just a crazy amount of insects. Like if we didn't have bats, we would just be overrun with mosquitoes. I feel like it'd be crazy. So if you ever have bats, don't kill them. I think it's illegal. Oh yeah, you're not supposed to kill bats. Like there's no such thing as a bat exterminator, just because. Yeah, they're protected. They're a protected animal. I don't know. That's crazy. Why would people kill a bat? Like they don't do anything. They can carry rabies, but it's rare, and you have to get bitten by it. But I mean, it's not like I don't know. It's not like a spider that's gonna envenom you. Like bite you and I don't know. What blows my mind is that they can catch bugs in midair like that. That they're able to they can't see that well. They use that like echolocation or whatever, and they can catch bugs like that. How? That's insane to me. But yeah. Leafy says I probably would freak out. Well, I mean that's normal. I mean I think when you see something in your house that's not supposed to be there, there's a part of you that's like, okay, this isn't right. This shouldn't be in here. I mean, I guess I'm the same way with spiders. Like if it's a brown recluse, I'll kill it because those are extremely venomous. But if it's just like a wolf spider or a house spider or something, I'll catch it. I'll catch it and put it outside just so that it deserves to live too. Well, Leaf here, the roaches you kill are ones that are like probably dirty and they can like carry, bacteria and stuff just because they're rummaging around in like damp and like nasty places. So yeah, those roaches, I get it. Madagascar roaches are really clean and they don't hang out in nasty places like that. Uh, Christian says you can see ripples on a pond from far away. Oh, well, that's crazy. And then Linux says, I mainly grow outside plants and my insect enemy is the red lily beetle. Ever come across that one? No. Well, maybe. I don't know. Let me look it up. Red lily beetle. Do, do, do. Scarlet lily beetle, as it goes by some other name. Oh, wow. That's pretty, actually. I don't think I've ever come across that. Let me see if I can find a. Oh, it's not touchscreen. I think I do that every time I try to touch the screen like I can. I just wanted to see what its distribution is. Indigenous to parts of Europe and Asia, thought to have been introduced to North America through the importation of plant bulbs in 1943. New England states, as well as New York and Washington. In Canada, it is found in maritime provinces west to Manitoba. Okay. So I guess it hasn't made it this far inland. So that's probably why I haven't seen it. Well, yeah. Yeah, and like insect taxonomy is as messy as like the taxonomy of like moss, you know, where there's tens of thousands of species of the same thing and they all look the same. Of course, there's more insect species I think than any other thing on earth, if I'm not mistaken, but totally devours anything in the lily family. Okay. Well, that's not good. Leafier says that she used to pluck caterpillars from garden plants and feed them to orb weavers. Oh, okay. Leafier, have you ever seen those? I've they're called different things, but I've always heard them called garden spiders, and they're the spiders that when you see them in the web, their legs are in the X shape. They've got a yellow thorax, and they're pretty big too. I mean, it's a good sized spider, and you'll see like a zigzag in the web. I guess it depends on the caterpillar. You know, some caterpillars are voracious eaters, and some of them have that stinger on them. I don't know if they can use that, but yeah, garden spiders are really pretty. Um, yeah, but like, I don't know. I guess I could be considered an orb weaver. I always thought orb weavers were like those brown spiders that have the really fat butts on them. Well, the thorax. Um, but yeah. The thorax is the butt, right? I'm not mixing that up because I'm tired. Anyway. Caterpillars were cabbage white butterfly, not good for plants. Aranea. Oh, okay. One year, I actually did see the caterpillar of a monarch butterfly, and if you've never seen one, they are as gorgeous as monarch butterflies. They're very, very pretty. I'm making it a goal to spend more time outside this year. We haven't necessarily been talking about houseplants, but there's just so much nature to be embraced, you know what I mean? And you know, being houseplant lovers, we also have an appreciation and kind of a passion for nature, so it I think. Yeah, it is kind of the same color scheme. What was the one? There was one caterpillar I saw, and I was like, what must that turn into? And then I found out it turns into like the tiger moth, I think is what it is. But I don't remember what caterpillar it was. Hmm, I don't know. While we're kind of on the subject of insects, like one of my bucket list items is to actually hold a rhinoceros beetle. I think that would be so cool. I mean, if you've ever looked up on YouTube or something, like the caterpillar or the grub, like the it's as big as your hand, like the pupa or whatever. It's huge. Like it's just massive. And then of course it grows into this giant bug And it's, I don't know, how cool is that? I don't know. Some people would probably be intimidated by that, but I'm like, I want to hold it. I don't care if it pinches me or whatever. Actually, those don't pinch, I don't think. I think is it Goliath beetles or Hercules beetles that have the thing on the front like this? Those will pinch, but yeah, I mean, it's just if you're presented with that kind of cool opportunity, how can you say no? You know what I mean? It's just like probably be the only time you ever get to do that. And it's like I've said on this channel in the past. It's just for me, like all life is, it's precious, and holding animals, whatever it is, it's just a way of connecting to the earth. Like it's a way of getting back to nature and like connecting with this other living entity that's just trying to live its life too. Unless it's a mosquito. Bam. Dead. Okay, Goliath beetle. And if I'm remembering right from Animal Crossing, Goliath beetles are the ones that they're kind of maroon in color and they have like the black and white shell on the back. I'm sure there's different kinds, but that's the one I envisioned. Yeah, Leafia, I would like to hold a tarantula. Probably. Like I've considered buying a tarantula just to have like to own one. Wes used to own tarantulas before we got together. I would probably get a rose, like a rose hair, maybe not rose hair, a pink toe, like a pink toe. I've heard they're pretty docile, but I don't know. I'd be nervous, but it'd be okay. Yeah, pink toe. That's it. Yeah, Wes is still watching. Okay. Christian says mosquitoes have no place in nature. Lots of bugs can occupy the same niche. That's a Linux was talking about like debates in like the scientific community. That's another big one, because we have the ability to potentially, wipe out mosquitoes, and some people say we shouldn't do that. Some people say that we should because of mosquitoes are the deadliest animal in the world, believe it or not. Um, if it were me, I would say, you know what? F it. Like, wipe him out. And, like they said in Jurassic Park, life finds a way, right? We'll find a way to get by without him. Linux says, one of my favorites is an entomologist, and he says Lepidoptera are his least interesting category of insect, but it's the one folks love the most. So, Linux, I was starting to kind of get more into insect taxonomy last year. I kind of got away from it just because of, whatever. But I was starting to try to learn the orders, is what you're talking about. When we're talking about plant science, we typically focus on like generas. But with insects, we have to back off a little bit because there's so many insects, and we kind of look at the orders. And I don't remember what Lepidoptera is off the top of my head. I know that Coleoptera is the biggest, and that's the beetles. There are more beetles than anything else, I think. But and Hymenoptera, I think, is second biggest. That's the one that has like the wasps and the bees in it. But I guess I could look it up. I'm sitting here in front of a laptop. Let's see, Lepidoptera. Oh, the order of insects that includes butterflies and moths. Yes. Okay. That sounds. That's a reminder, I guess. Why would he find it the least interesting? I wonder. Maybe there's just not a lot of like. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, they're so beautiful. There's so many different kinds. Latin name. Well, some of them. Some of them are not as nice. What was the one that we said sounded like a cold, or like you had something? Um, what plant genus was that? And we were like, oh, it just. It makes you sound like you have a disease or something. I'd have to look at my list. It was fairly recent. It's been within the last 2 months, I think. I'm sitting here like going through the list in my head. I'm like, what sounds like you're sick? I wish I had my paper in front of me. Clamis guidata or guidata? What is Clamis guidata? Guidata. Okay. Spotted turtle. Linux says butterflies, yeah. And then I don't know why my entomologist friend was so dismissive of them, just because he can. I guess when you specialize in a field like that, you're always going to have an opinion, I guess. And it's the same with plants. You know, I mean, I studied plant science in college, but I really got more into the houseplant side of it after that, just because I did plant science because well, it's not the thing I majored in necessarily, but I did plant science because I always liked plants because of my mom, and that was a chance for me to learn more about that. And I guess I developed opinions about things too, even about houseplants. You know, we were talking earlier, I think before you got here, you know, some people love Hoyas, and Hoyas are the coolest thing, and there's so many different kinds, and I just love them. And other people are like, who cares? And I'm one of those. Like, I have one Hoya I really like, and the rest, like this one that's dropping its flowers, I just don't really care about. But a lot of people love them. Oh yeah, Rana, I think in Spanish is frog, if I'm not mistaken. And then Leafier says, I think Bombilidae is one of the cutest names for one of the cutest insects. Which one is that, Leafier? Out of curiosity. And what's up, Mav? How's it going? I like that name. Oh, okay. They found us hide. A fly looks like a fluffy bee. When you said that, I immediately thought bumblebee or carpenter bee. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. Thank you, Mav. I'm glad you like that. I'm doing some more plant science videos soon. I know the fruit thing wasn't necessarily directly related to houseplants, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, well, we've talked a lot about houseplants, and I guess the channel's called Bane's Botanicals. You know, it doesn't have to be just houseplants we talk about. And yeah, I had fun making it. Earlier, before you got here, I actually chopped up this mango because I'd never eaten mango before. And as it turns out, I don't like mango. I didn't think it was that good. But I'm glad I tried it. It almost smells like a honeydew when you smell it, but... Oh, yeah. Yeah, velvet ant's not cool. Velvet ant is actually a wasp. It's also known as the cow killer. Has one of the most painful stings known to man. Not cool at all. And I've seen one before in person. It was actually here down kind of close to the river. And they're really obvious too. Like, it's not like you'll mistake it for something else. It's like a black probably about that big, and it's got like a reddish orange fuzz on its back. It's very obvious. Don't pick them up. And I didn't kill it, right? Like I left it. Number one, because I'm like, well, if I miss and it gets mad, you know. But I was just like, it's doing its thing, whatever. It's not like we have some sort of velvet ant outbreak where you know they're everywhere and we have to knock them out. Now, if they were as numerous as like paper wasps, you know, if they're building nests in my doorway and then they get mad at me when I open the door, like, no, that's why we have wasp killer. Mav, we were kind of talking about like the next video earlier, so I was just kind of curious of what would be something you'd like to see next related to plant science. And then I'm going to catch up on these comments. But, you know, I was talking about maybe doing a plant anatomy video next, kind of talking about the different parts of like house plants specifically, but just plants in general. And also like a video on physiology, talking about like photosynthesis and how plants absorb nutrients from the ground and things like that. I don't know. I'm going to make them both regardless. I was just kind of getting an opinion on what you'd like to see next. It's probably that type of mango you didn't enjoy. There are 1,000 plus varieties of mangoes. I highly recommend trying the Alfonso mango. And if you like milkshakes, mango milkshake is to die for. I don't mind mango flavored things. Like a mango milkshake sounds like it would be good. Mango salsa is not bad. But I mean, I could say the same thing about strawberry. Like, I like strawberry flavored things, but I don't really like strawberries. Part of it's a texture thing with strawberries, though, because how they have the little seeds in them. I don't like crunching things like that. Like, that textural experience is not something I enjoy. Um, so even for example, like ice cream usually has real strawberries in it, and you like crunch the seed occasionally, and I'm just like, nah, that's not for me. I don't like that at all. Yeah, hornets are no. That's stuff I've run from. Like, I mean, I think that when people know me and they get to know me, and maybe you guys, I feel like you guys have gotten to know me a decent amount on this channel through our adventure together. Um, some people might look at me and be like, "Oh, you hold a cockroach? You're so brave. That's so weird." But when it comes to like wasps and stuff, I'm a baby. Like I'm running, I'm screaming, I'm making Wes take care of something. Like I'm just not doing that. I'm not getting involved in that. Linux, that is so funny because I have met a couple of other people in the past where they're like, I hate bananas. And I'm sitting there thinking, how can you hate bananas? That just seems like such a common staple fruit. But I can see why some people wouldn't like bananas. And even me, I'm specific about when to eat them. I think everybody has an opinion about when to eat a banana, but I like them when they're just starting to get those brown spots on them. Like that is the time to eat them, when they're just a little more sweet. If they have any green on them, I think they taste disgusting. Like they make me, ugh, it's just not good. Yeah, they can't be like brown. Like if they're brown, that's like banana bread. But like just when they're starting to kind of turn is to me the best time to eat them. They have a better texture too. They're a little bit softer. When they're green, I feel like they're harder to like chew and bite into. I open the jars myself most of the time. You guys may not, well, some of you probably do, but they actually do make a blue banana. And I think it's endangered, so it's kind of hard to come by, but like it's supposed to taste like a milkshake. Like it's actually supposed to be creamy like a milkshake when you eat it. I think that would be a bizarre experience, but I'd like to try it. Meph says, I think there was a lot of tribal knowledge that gets passed down around in the houseplant community, so whatever topic you choose, as long as you keep the scientific component. Okay, they don't make a blue banana. It's grown. I guess they don't like manufacture it, but yeah. Yeah, Mav. So one of my big mission statements when I made this channel was I want to have a reliable place people can go for information. I think that sometimes there is no one right answer, but in general, like I want to be a reliable source. And you know, so when we were doing our houseplant anthology and we were talking about taxonomy, sometimes that can be variable depending on who you talk to. And somebody brought up the other day, I don't remember who it was. Somebody commented on my video I did on Lampranthus, I think, and they reminded me about Oscularia, that you know some species of Lampranthus are in Oscularia now, and I'm like, I completely forgot about that since I made that video because I made that video last year sometime, but Oscularia is a cool name. But yeah, I do try to keep it as authentic as I can. Oh, you guys are talking. Leaf Year says she loves fresh coconut. Yeah, the shredded coconut's no good. That is a mouthful of hair. I don't like that. My first experience with that, I don't think I've told anybody this story either. My first experience with that shredded coconut, I remember being a kid and my mom thought it would be funny to buy my dad like an inappropriate cake, and they used black shredded coconut on that. And I tried it for the first time and I'm like, that's disgusting. Why would anybody eat this? But yeah, fresh coconut's good. And coconut flavor. Kristen, what do you mean I hold back too much? I mean, sometimes I hold back so that I can be accessible. And sometimes I hold back because it's not always necessary to dive too deep, you know. But yes, maybe I do hold back too much sometimes. It's a bad habit. I worry about not being accessible enough to people. Even though most of you are just big nerds like I am. Steven says, I left a comment on your last live video about PetSmart having super sale on aquariums. Oh, no, yeah, Steven, I saw that. I thought I commented back and said, don't tell me these things. Because we were driving by PetSmart like a day later, and I was thinking, that's very tempting. But I thought, no, I'm just getting started with that other terrarium, and I thought, I don't need to do that yet. Like, especially when I still have other plants I'm trying to get rid of, but they do that every year though, so I might look at that at some point. And then Lennox says, I'm West Indian background and I may be excommunicated from my banana stance, but all bananas and anything in that family, including plantain. I've never tried fresh plantain, or I've never had plantain if it's like cooked in anything. I know that's used in a lot of like, Mexican dishes as well, but I have only had plantain chips and they were okay. I mean, banana chips are pretty good. They're really super crunchy though. And like, I don't necessarily have like the best teeth, like in the back, like just cause like from where my wisdom teeth came in wrong. But yeah, it's really crunchy. Devolving into vlogs. What even is a vlog? Like, I know what a vlog is, but I don't know what it is. Like, somebody explained to me the difference between like a vlog and making a video and a live stream. Like, is that where you just make random videos about your day? Is that a vlog? I'm showing my millennial here, but it's fine. They just do housework with a plant in frame. Well, my house is clean, so there's nothing to do, except for maybe pet Athena. Athena! Athena! Hi, baby. Anyway. Well, don't worry, I don't do vlogs, so. And actually, like, you know, I would like to see some more subs this year, you know, fingers crossed, just because I want to be able to hit a good sized audience, regardless of, you know, I don't aspire to have 1 million subs. Like, I don't want to be Plantarina, because I think that just like being a celebrity in Hollywood, like you can reach a point where something is too much, and so it's just like that's never been my goal, but I would like to have a bigger audience that I can reach out to, you know, and be able to be a good resource for more people. It just hasn't happened yet, but hopefully it will. If you guys have any like old grandmas or something that just, you know, want to hit the subscribe button sometime, that'd be cool. But yeah. Leafier, I gave you a shout out to the Grow Folds chat tonight. Hopefully we can cross over and. Oh, thank you. See, I appreciate that. You know, like, I think that, you know, let's pretend I had like 500,000 subs. Like, I would go on YouTube and I would watch like budding plant channels and I'd give them a shout out. I'd be like, hey, this channel seems pretty nice. I'll give them a shout out to my audience and get them some subs because you know what? They're trying to make something work for themselves. Why not? You know, use your power for good. Like that's what somebody needs to do for me. Okay, let's see. Steven says, I think vlogs as quick, unscripted, hey, what's going on in my life? So it's almost like the YouTube shorts, but when I make a short on YouTube, like I have a purpose. Like usually I found a plant that in the moment I want to share with you guys, or I'm announcing like the next live stream, or like I was at the park the other day and you know I hadn't made the fruit video yet, or well, I hadn't released it yet, I don't think, and I just wanted to give you guys some FaceTime. Math says verbal diarrhea plus blog equals vlog. Maybe so. Wow, I guess I didn't realize vlogs were so terrible. But of course, I didn't really know what a vlog was. Lennox says, sorry, coconut is also in my bad books. When I was a kid, my father took me to Trinidad where he cut the coconut down, poured out the water, and you are supposed to drink fresh. Oh, huh. Well, I tell you, Lennox, I have a coconut because I bought one for the video, and I haven't cracked it open yet. Somebody told me you're not supposed to drink what's inside. I don't know if that's true, but I do remember. So I'm gonna try that too at some point. But I do remember when my mom was on the beach once. There was a guy going around making drinks for people, and he would actually just hack the top off of a coconut and like just pour rum into the water in there, and like you could just drink it like that. I don't know. Don't know if that's good or what, but I do love coconut flavor. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love tropical flavors: pineapple, coconut, mango. I don't know about that, but I have a pineapple in there too. I have a pineapple core. I'm so excited for fresh pineapple. I love pineapple. Um, Christian says, have you considered contacting nurseries you visit, ask if they can leave a card or flyer? Yes. So, non-fresh coconut can be very deadly. Do not drink the milk. Okay, well, there's our answer for that. Kind of like don't eat apple seeds. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So some of the nurseries here I actually have contacted about making a video for them and kind of doing an interview with the manager or the owner just to get them some local publicity that they could put either on their websites, on Facebook, something so that they have like an organized, almost like a commercial, and you know, in exchange, that would get at least some local interest, you know, to me. But I do have cards. I need to go do that. I just need to go and reach out to them. And I told my brother, you know, he lives in a different state, and I'm like, go talk to the family and stuff, because that's where I'm from in Indiana originally, so that's where he is. And I'm like, why are you not soliciting family members to subscribe? Like, you need to be on that. Let's see. I would assume the rum would kill all. Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, rum is alcohol. I don't think it's probably as effective as rubbing alcohol, but maybe. It might be one of those things too where it's like I said apple seeds because apple seeds actually like digest into cyanide in your stomach or whatever, but you have to eat a lot of apple seeds for that to be a problem. Like if you accidentally eat an apple seed, it's not going to kill you. But you know, if you ate like a bunch, it'll kill you. Of course, if you eat a bunch of anything, it'll kill you. Yeah, well, the pothos thing, you know, the big problem with things like epipremnum is that they have those oxalate crystals in the leaves and they can get into your soft tissues of your gums and stuff. Like it's basically like glass, and you know it can cause problems. But the one that the house plant, in my opinion, that's probably the most deadly is probably like Dieffenbachia. Dieffenbachia has a lot of like chemicals in it that can do bad things to your nervous system and stuff like that. So I don't have a Dieffenbachia just because I have cats. But yeah. Linux says pineapple. We finally agree. Good. Pineapple is amazing. Like it's just, I've always been somebody that really enjoys the beach and like the tropics. I've never gotten a chance to live there. I've always lived where it gets cold and stuff. But the flavor of pineapple is just so sweet and tropical. Like I love it so much. But Leaf says that she heard that too much coconut can cause digestive issues. If it if it does cause digestive issues, it probably has to do with the fact that some fruits are very fibrous and they're not always the easiest to digest. So that can be depending on the strength of your digestive system. I have ulcerative colitis, so there are certain foods I'm not supposed to eat because it's a little harder for me to digest them. Um, but yeah, I don't eat a lot of fresh coconut, but yeah, I tell customers it's like fiberglass juice. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Um, really, Leaf. It's not so much about people eating epipremnum leaves. It's more about like pets, because like you know, if animals don't know any better, they'll try to eat those leaves, and it'll cause a lot of like inflammation and stuff. It's not good. Christian doesn't like fresh pineapple. Darn, that's okay. You can have the mango. I'll have the pineapple. Yeah, dumb cane. Exactly, Steven. That's part of the reason why they call it dumb cane, because it makes you dumb. Yeah, I got diagnosed a couple of years ago. So I don't have it that bad. I have it mild, thankfully. Knock on wood, somebody. Some people have it so bad that they have to take like those really extreme medications for it because it just interrupts their life so much. But thankfully, that's not the case with me. But I still try to be careful. I try not to do anything stupid, you know, and like I'm not supposed to drink necessarily. So I just have wine on occasion. Not that I really drank before, but you know, some people do, but I don't. Uh, I did have some really good wine the other day, though. Um, yeah, Leafier. My cats leave all my plants alone except for two. Spider plant, they love to chew on that, and they love to chew on my Camadoria. I don't know if they just think it looks the most like grass, but neither of those are toxic, so I'm not too worried about it. But the rest of them, they leave alone. Linux asks, ever have American pawpaw Acemia triloba? They say it's a mixture of pineapple, banana, so I will sadly, never try it. I don't think I have. The closest thing that this probably isn't close to it at all, but we have a thing called Dole Whip, and it's kind of like frozen ice cream custard, and it has a lot of tropical flavors. Usually it's just pineapple, but I think you can get it with other like banana and other things. But it's not fresh, like it doesn't have actual like fruit in it, so that's probably not the same. Yeah, well, yeah, Christian, like it's not like I said, it's not horrible just because I don't have it that bad. It's just something to be aware of. But the thing is, like, I'm not like a spring chicken anymore. So even if I didn't have that, I still try to consider what I'm eating. You get older, you start getting like heartburn and stuff, and you just have to start thinking more about taking care of yourself. Um, the phrase "youth is wasted on the young" is probably one of the truest things I've ever heard. Uh, but yeah, Mav says, same for my cat. Spider plant is his favorite. He likes all plants that have long, thin leaves that he can slurp like a noodle. Um, yeah. I don't know if some cats just have like a better perception of plants they aren't supposed to eat, or what. But for some reason, mine have never tried to eat things that are toxic. So I'm grateful for that. Uh, But like my oldest cat, he doesn't mess with any of the plants. But if I let him outside just to kind of sit with them, he goes after the grass, like just regular grass, and he'll eat it until he vomits. And I don't know if he's just trying to like cleanse, but he's always been like that. So I have to watch him. I have to be like, okay, he's ate just a little bit. Now he's done. Um, yeah, she's she's listening to us. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but her ears are actually facing back, and cats do that to listen without like turning around. And she's listening. But yeah, she's my baby. She's just the sweetest cat you'll ever meet. Uh, yeah, Leaf, I'm older than I look. But that's not bad. Look at you creeping up there. Linux says, ooh, wine. Now we really are talking. What was the great wine you had? If we're talking about wine, I like sweet wine. So I don't like dry wine because it feels like I'm drinking fire. Um, there's a little winery back in Indiana nestled in the hills. And when I go back to visit, I pick up some bottles from there. So this was just like a sweet red wine, and it was actually pretty good. Like it's almost like grape juice. That's how close it is to that side of the spectrum. But yeah, there's another one. There's another one that you can get like at stores. What is it? What is that wine that we like to get? What is it called? Oh, Riscato. I love a good sweet Riscato. It's very good. Esquiru's here. What's up, Esquiru? Glad that you're here. Yes, Christian, spiders listen to us, especially jumping spiders. If you guys are scared of spiders, don't be scared of jumping spiders because they're so cute. Let's see. Mav says, I doubt my cat has that much IQ. He can't drink water from his cat fountain without getting his head soaking wet. Aw, that's kind of cute though. We have a cat fountain as well. They actually don't like drinking out of a bowl that much. I think we've kind of spoiled them. Fortunately, they aren't so spoiled that they have to drink out of the sink. Because I had a cat before, he would only drink out of the sink. So that's annoying. But yeah. Yeah, Stephen West is working on the background. He was upstairs, like doing it from upstairs. Let's see. Christian, 28, maybe. I don't know. Maybe in the right lighting, when I've had enough sleep, maybe I could pull off 28. We'll see. Leafier is drinking Pinot Grigio. Heck yeah. I don't know if I've actually had Pinot Grigio. I thought that was a drier wine, but I could be wrong. What else do we got? Now I just want wine, you guys. Stop it. Linux says, cheers to you, Leafier. I had some Carmenere. Love a great red. Yeah, we're experimenting with some background noise for these live streams, so it's not so quiet. So let me know what you guys think of the sound if you're not reading the chat. Um, it sounds like we're in outer space. uh, Christian says it's dampened. Oh, Mav says that the wine is sweet. Good. Leaf here says it's not too loud. Okay. Yeah, guys. If for those of you who arrived more recently, Digital Ghost is actually my husband, Wes, and he is the one that edits all the videos, and he helps me put this whole thing together. So when you see him commenting, that's Wes. Yeah, Mav, it does sound like a spa. Like I'll go get a massage maybe like once a month, and this is the kind of music that's playing. Autumn Frost, he just mentioned Autumn Frost. It's a type of wine from a grape that they grow at that vineyard in Indiana. And it's a sweet white wine, and it's very good. It's a little expensive, but it's very good. Yeah, guys, Wes is the tech guy, not me. I'm the plant guy. I'm the one that does like the nature stuff and plays music. He's the one that does all of the techno things. That is a good question, Matt. I guess you've been watching some of my older videos. So last year, like curly hair is always like something that is a little like fashionable just because it's a recessive gene. And for a minute, for like a year or two, people were going and getting perms and stuff. And I thought at first I kind of made fun of it. I'm like, that's so silly. Why would you do that? And then I'm like, the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, but I kind of want to know what it's like to have curly hair. So then I grew my hair out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Why not? Like everybody did it in the '80s, right? All the women had their hair permed and stuff. So I thought, well, why not? And I liked it, but it was a lot of maintenance, like having to use special shampoo so that your hair doesn't dry out, and making sure that you're using the right product. And I mean, I liked it too. It started getting a little excessive towards the end because it was just growing so fast, and it was becoming very like, I don't know, like some of those cover photos on those videos I made during that period are ridiculous, just because of how out of control it got. But I don't know if I would do it again. But some people loved it. Some people were like, "Why did you do that to yourself?" But it was fine. It was an experience. Let's see. Teamwork makes the dream work, Steven. That is correct. And we balance each other out pretty well. Yeah. Yeah, Steven loved the curls. I liked him. I didn't love them, but it was fun kind of playing with them, like running my fingers through them and stuff. Leaf here says, I can only do plants. I still can't even figure out how to make an Instagram account. Oh, I need to update the Instagram. Ugh. You guys, I need to be posting to Instagram. Why am I not doing that? Let's see. That was not that long ago. Mav says, that was not that long ago. I opened YouTube and boom, let's talk about Dylan's curly hair. Yeah, that was last spring, I believe. Yeah. And so I went to get a private barber a month ago because usually I just go to like chain places, and people at work were like, I have this really great barber you should go to, and so I went to this guy, and he did a really good job. And so I'm probably going to go back to him soon because my hair's starting to get long. But when I was getting ready to go to him, I was kind of scrolling through old pictures. I'm like, I've done so many different random things with my hair. It's kind of crazy just because it grows so fast. And it just, I don't know, why not? Why not do something with it? I have hair. That's the important thing. My uncle went bald when he was like 20. So the fact that I still have hair, knock on wood, might as well do something with it. Hi, Ahmed. Ahmed is here. most of you probably know Ahmed. He's from Malaysia. Uh, hang on, let me backtrack on some of these comments. Linux says, I did a saltwater float. This is music they use when you exit the chamber. I've heard saltwater floats are amazing. Wes did those a few times. He swears by them, but I haven't done it yet. And yes, he does tend to find silly photos to put on those cover pictures sometimes. My favorite silly one that he's done is the one for Clusia. If you go back and look at my photo for Clusia, it's ridiculous. A curly pompadour. Yeah, Steven, that was... Esquiru says those curls are iconic. Thank you. I don't know. Maybe someday. Wes didn't like him, though. I didn't tell him that I was going to do that. And one day I came home. We were getting ready to go back home to Indiana. And I thought, I'll make a splash. So I went and did that. And I walked in and he was just like, what did you do to your hair? Instagram is not... Is Instagram millennial? I don't know. Maybe it is. Leafier says, I'm too new. I still haven't seen the curls. Gotta watch some older videos. Yeah. Well, Wes makes those cover photos like with a picture from the video. So if you just scroll, you can, it's really obvious which ones have curly hair. Yeah. Let's see. Christian says, it's nice to see people from your childhood all bald while having the same hairline since then. Depends on who it is, I guess, whether or not you like him. Mav says, I have all my own hair too, so I know the relief you feel. I'm going to stop talking about hair so it doesn't jinx mine or yours, but bring back the curls, please. We'll see. You know, if I do, honestly, guys, if I did do that again, it would be during the winter, because part of the reason I ended up shaving my head, shaving all the curls off, is because it got to be about June and it was so hot. Like having all that hair up there was extremely hot. So I was just like, forget this. Because I was working outdoors at the time in lawn and garden, so it was too much. But if I do it, it'll be in the winter time. Let's see. Steven says, the same lady cut my hair from age 5 to 30, even drove 3 hours from Des Moines to get my hair cut by her, and I have the same gal for like 15 years now. Hey, if it works, why change it up? Because, Christian, like, I blush easily anyway. And when people start, like, complimenting me and, like, we start talking about me, like, I'm not used to that. So it's just, sometimes I'm just, like, a little shy about it. Maybe not shy. Like, I don't mind talking about it, but, yeah. Ahmed says, maybe blonde next. I actually did do blonde when I was just out of high school. So we're talking like mid 2000s here. And I thought, why not? You know, people dye their hair a lot. I can pull off blonde. And it did not work. It was like orange. And then after I went and had it fixed, then it was still just yellow. It was never like platinum blonde. So I never did that again. I would maybe consider doing like an accent color, like you know what I mean? Like how some people will dye their hair and it's just like streaked with like a different color. Maybe like blue. I don't know. Maybe that's too stupid. Okay, everybody is noticing that I blush easily now. Maybe it's the lighting. Okay. Instagram was invented before the 90s equals. Oh, okay. I guess that's fair. Oh, after the 90s, right. They get higher the shorter you got it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, and the thing is, when I did get it done, my hair wasn't long enough. I should have had it longer. Lennox says, I lived in Africa. There, our cats would pounce on house lizards, torment them, rip their tails off, and then eat them. Of course, they were somewhat toxic cats, so back up they would come. Oh, wow. I had lizards in my basement of my previous house, and Spice, which is her sister, she would go down and she would bring them up, and she wouldn't kill them or anything. She'd bring them up. They wouldn't have a tail, you know, because they drop their tail as a defense mechanism. But I would just pick it up and put it outside, and it would just run off. So I'm glad she didn't kill him. But Mav says, or go big and do a Billy Idol type platinum curly do. Can you imagine if I showed up to the next live stream and I had my hair like that? It'd be like I was wearing a wig. That'd be crazy. The crazier thing would be walking into work like that and seeing people's expression. If I had blue eyes, maybe I would consider blonde again, but I don't know. I just have these kind of really dark brown eyes. Christian says, love lizards and salamanders. I like lizards. I like frogs too. And my friend that lives in Venezuela, he's basically my best friend, even though I've never met him. But like, he is scared to death of frogs, and I'm like, why? It's just a frog. Like, it's not gonna bite you. Like, they're cool. Amphibians are neat. But it's okay. Everybody has something. Linux, my cats just kill them. They don't eat them. These cats are brutal. But it's okay. Cats are hunters. Let's see. Frogs are my favorite. Yes. Yes. I love that you guys are all animal lovers. Like, that makes me feel good. You know what I mean? I think that the world needs more animal lovers because it takes a certain kind of person to love and appreciate nature. And these are typically people that are much more patient, much kinder, much more appreciative. And we need more of that in the world. Also, I went to the pet store in another town the other day with the intent of finding a millipede, and they did not have the one I wanted. Like, there's a millipede that actually gets pretty long, and it has like beautiful orange stripes on it, and I really, really want one. I held one once, and it was a really neat experience. And millipedes don't bite or anything. They're very, very docile. They just eat like detritus, which is like fallen leaves and things. I think they eat fruit too. But yeah, I really want to get one. Spice, do you want in the basement, sweetheart? Hang on. Spice wants in the basement. Okay, come here. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Let's see. Dog people only think they are animal lovers, but never felt the butterfly crawl over their face and it shows. Yeah, I've actually been to one of those butterfly like terrarium things, and it's actually a really cool thing. Oh, did Thena turn around? Hi, Thena. Hi, Thena. So if you guys are watching Athena, she's very intuitive. So she likes to watch TV, and she sees the screen, and she's kind of watching me on the screen. She loves to watch TV. She loves to watch animal channels and things like that. She is like the most amazing animal I've ever had. I love her so much, and I'm just, I wish she could live forever. Wait, hang on, I'm lost. Mav says, but the love for animals should not be confused with the desire to keep them as house pets. Yes. To a point, yes. Like, there are definitely a lot of animals that should not be pets. And we could get into, in a previous stream, we kind of got into that topic about animals in zoos. But there are some animals that make good pets because they can be domesticated and they don't mind. And there are other pets, not so much. Something like, when we're talking about like insects and spiders, I mean, yes, they're wild animals, but do they really like know the difference? You know, are they not safer from being indoors with us? You know, it's probably fine. But something like a fox, like people have had pet foxes, but I think they're really more designed to be outside because, you know, I don't know. That's just my opinion, but let me see. Steven says we used to have 4 Yorkies. Their names are Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, and Donald. I like that. I've been to Disney World a few times. Well, 3 times. Linux says, yes, Ahmed, I always thought it was strange they'd eat them, but they couldn't keep them down. What was... Yeah, Linux, you mentioned ants because you're talking about ants devouring the lizard, but like, I actually have a cat. He doesn't do it anymore, but he used to love eating ants. Because sometimes in the summer we'll get ants, not at this house, but another house. And he'd sit by the windowsill and just wait for them to go by, and he'd just be like eating them. I don't know, maybe they taste good. Um, oh, and now she's drifting off again. Let's see. Nothing that can't be allowed to run free should be kept. I guess it's the definition of run free, whatever that looks like. You know, if an animal can live in a more confined habitat or not. Ahmed says, I always say Ahmed and it's Ahmad, sorry. I've always done that ever since I've met you. Ahmad says, I love animals, but don't skip a beat squishing a pest between my fingers. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier too. Because some things are just icky, but... Mav says, I was 7 years old when my mom took... Oh, wow, that's crazy. It's not funny. I mean, it's a little funny now because it's in the past, but like, it's funny the mindset of like a child, of the idea of like, oh, this is cool, I'll just take this with me. And because I swear I heard a story, or maybe I saw it on TV once, of somebody like trying to take a fish with them. Like they tried to take their goldfish with them to school and they like put it in their pocket. Like, yeah. It wouldn't be funny if you did that as an adult. Then I'd be like, okay, this person is, no. But yeah. I don't know, places like that, I almost don't know about like, should they allow kids in places like that? Just because, even though it's a beautiful experience, you know, I think that there's some places that like really little kids, they don't have the discipline enough to, you know, I don't know. Does that make sense? Is that controversial? Like, I just, out of respect and safety for the creatures, you know, just to, but yeah. It's getting, Leafier got me confused because I still do sometimes, but I used to play World of Warcraft, and my name on there is Mav. So people call me Mav on there. So when she was like, oh, Mav, 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 I'm like, what? I'm right here. Yeah, because like Linux was talking earlier about the red beetles, how those are actually a pest. Like they are like a destructive insect to certain types of plants, lilies. You can make the same argument for like aphids, just because, I mean, yeah, aphids, yes, they're an animal, but at the same time, they're very destructive to not just houseplants, but plants outside too. So that's where ladybugs come in. You know, ladybugs come and just nom nom those things right up. When I was a kid, I learned it the hard way about horned lizards' self-defense mechanism. What do they do? What do horned lizards do? I had an iguana once, and it liked to whip its tail. You're fine, Leaf. It was just, that was just me when I was reading it. I was just like, ugh. That was confusing for a second. Nobody calls me Ahmad because there are like hundreds of millions of them in the world. People usually call me Ahmad by their second name. Mine is Usruff. Oh, okay. I'm going to do my best to remember that. Usruff. Some lizards taste bad. I would venture to say that a lot of lizards probably taste bad. Oh, yeah. I heard they squirt blood from their eyes, but I didn't believe it until it happened. That's disgusting. Wow, that is gross. Okay, well, I didn't know that. I learned that today. When is the last time we were talking about plants? I'm just sitting here. I'm like, we've been on the animal thing for a while, which is fine. Oh, look at my precious baby. She's just asleep back there. Mm. Oh, hang on. I gotta readjust here and sit right. Ugh. We were talking earlier about aging, and I go roller skating on the weekend, like on Saturdays usually, and I get compliments from like a lot of younger people that are like, "Wow, you can skate really well." Um, I don't think they know my age. I keep that under wraps. Another commercial. Um, but yeah, I've been trying to age gracefully. Lenny says, my friend is a teacher and they had one of those setups. Rearing monarch caterpillars came back to the classroom and they all imploded in the tank. Oh, gosh. That sounds awful. Yeah. Well, speaking of leaf babies, I was talking to Leaf here earlier. I did plant the lemon seeds from the channel, or I'm sorry, from the video I did, because I know people had mentioned in the past about like growing citrus. So intentionally, I'm going to try to grow lemon and lime just to see if I can make it happen. Um, but yeah, I'll kind of keep you guys updated on that just to see how that goes. Uh, but really, for the most part right now, I'm just trying to get ready for spring. I mean, I'm ready for spring mentally already just because I'm over it. But yeah. When people treat you like you're 20 years younger, when it's a problem, did they really? I don't know if I'm technically showing TV necessarily. It's not like a channel. Yes. I don't know. Well, because most of the US got hit with that really big blizzard at the beginning of the year, and it was just so bad. Like there was just so much snow and it was just so cold. And then we got hit again. Um, we got hit again like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was also really cold then too. And it was just so bad. Like I don't. But of course, that Hedera Helix out by the driveway was still green, if you can believe that. But yeah, it's been a rough winter actually. Fortunately, it's starting to warm up. It's been in the 60s Fahrenheit pretty recently, so I'm over it for sure. And I actually, since I scaled back my hours at work, I'm really excited that I'm gonna have more time to focus on like being outside, being more connected to nature, those kind of things. Uh, Usruff says, you accidentally broke off a ZZ plant stem while repotting and decided to put it in water. It grew roots. Huh. Huh. Mav says, random, possibly dumb thought, but I've always wondered if some plants have changed physically as part of their evolution. Like, do some of them look completely different in 2025 versus the 1800s? Well, so if you're talking from evolution, no, just because that's not enough time for anything to take place as far as natural evolution goes. But I would venture to say that yes, houseplants look different. Some houseplants look different than they did back then, just because um, we have gone out of our way to make plants for the home hardier. In some cases, we have harvested better varieties, better variegation patterns, and everything. So it's more of an induced evolution that doesn't change like the genetics or anything like that. It's almost like if I said, I wonder if windows look the same as they did back in the 1800s. Well, I mean, yes, they do, because I mean, are they still made of glass? Yes, but they've changed a lot just because we have made them change. We've made them more accustomed to our modern needs and desires. Uh, does that answer that question? But I mean, if we're strictly using the term evolution, that has to take place over millions of years. Um, but yeah, that doesn't mean we can't intervene a little bit. I've heard that ZZs are super easy to propagate, so I played it and throw it away. I've never tried to propagate a ZZ plant. Uh, I've never really had the desire to propagate a ZZ plant. Most of the time I've seen, well, I guess it is propagation by division technically, but yeah, I don't know. ZZ plants are cool. I just don't have one. Yeah, fruit and veggies. Yeah, Steven, that's another good example, because we started selecting the specific types of fruits and vegetables that either were easier to grow or lasted longer or were just more desirable in general, more flavorful. Like I said in the fruit video, think about how many varieties of apples there are now. I mean, it's crazy how many, I don't know. I've never done tissue culture. And Christian, you and I have talked about that in the past, about getting into tissue culture. I just haven't done it yet. I have a list of like plant things I need to do. Carnivorous plants is up there. Like, I need to start experimenting a little more with carnivorous plants. I feel like, I did the terrarium project and that went really well. Aquatic plants have gone really well. So that's just kind of the next thing I want to tackle personally. But ZZs you can prop from a single leaf. That's why I avoid them. Yeah. Yeah, some people have a hard time doing that. Even when I take cuttings of a plant, it's like I hate to waste a good leaf that could potentially, be something useful. Yeah, Swift. The black leaves of the Raven ZZ are really neat. The Raven ZZ I had it for about a year and it never put out any new growth. So eventually I gave it to a friend because I'm like, this thing's not doing anything. But it's still a really cool plant. Linux, if you're asking me, I don't grow any of my own food. If I had like a yard and a space for like gardening, I would consider that, but I don't. I could probably do like a patio, like blueberry plant or like raspberries or something. I just haven't done that. That might be something I do this year. I might see about doing something like that, because they're really easy to get. Like, those actual bushes are easy to get, but I just haven't done that. But do you grow your own food? I mean, I know you're up there in Canada, but I didn't know if you were into that. African violets are a good place to start with tissue culture. I wonder why. I wonder why African violets specifically. Um, my African violet right now is still doing pretty well. It's 3 in one pot, if you guys remember the video, and the kind of wine colored one is actually blooming right now again, and I didn't do anything. Like, it's just blooming by itself. Um, I was a little nervous about, because Streptocarpus is the genus, but African violet, I was a little nervous about it because I've always kind of heard that they can be finicky, and they can to a point, but I would say my personal experience with African violet is that it's been easier than Calathea. It's been easier than plants in the Aralia family, so I don't know. If you're going to do experiments with tissue culture, and African violets are the thing to do, it's not too hard of a plant to play with. Raspberries are very easy even from seed. Maybe I should plant some raspberry seeds. But I'll probably just buy the plants, just because they come at a pretty good size. Citrus grow well in pots. Okay, yeah. So I'm hoping it's not obviously going to fruit this year, but I did plant those lemon seeds with the hope that eventually I will be able to grow it. But yeah. Where is Dragonite Spam? You guys have seen Dragonite Spam commenting on my videos and stuff. He does that. He'll go get seeds from like the grocery store, like fruits and stuff, and he'll plant them. He's pretty good at it, but you're fired, Dragonite, for not being here. You have to be careful. Yeah, so I am going to divide mine, but I'm not really dividing the plant itself. I would actually just split up the 3 separate plants. So I don't think it'll be too traumatic for it, but if you are just splitting it, it can be kind of tough for it to rebound, you know what I mean? But you already know that, but I would consider rosemary and sage food if you eat it. Can't wait to see how they grow. Mine was planted August of 23 and now approaching 5 feet tall. Has it produced any fruit, leaf year? I think you had mentioned that last time, that it had grown that much. And I was like, wow, 2 years, that's a pretty short amount of time for it to get so big. But I'm curious if it fruited at all. Linux says, yes, absolutely grow my own food. I have 2 community garden plots. The big thing I'm known for is garlic, but great success with leafy greens, potatoes, tomatoes, onions, etc. I wonder then if we're looking at fruits and vegetables and we're talking about, like you said, a community garden, I would wonder if vegetables in the botanical sense are not easier to grow than fruit, because with like a fruit, you're dependent on like the plant itself producing a flower that gets fertilized and then turns into a fruit. I mean, tomatoes are pretty easy, but I have to imagine that I would think that vegetables would be easier to grow. Yeah, and herbs are usually pretty easy for indoors. No fruit, but new branches coming in as well as the thorns. Whew, pardon me. So maybe in the summer. Yeah, especially, well, because you said you lived in West Texas, I believe. Especially if you put it outside, because the thing about flowering with plants, and especially fruiting, is that takes a ton of energy out of plants. So that's why, most of our indoor plants don't flower, because they're not getting the amount of sun that they need to do that. Now that doesn't mean, oh, I want my calathea to flower, let me stick it outside in the heat in the summer. No, because it'll just kill it. But yeah, it's one of those things you just won't see, especially in the Aralia family. You don't see a lot of flowers, or not Aralia. Well, that too, but the aroids. Not very many aroids flower aside from like peace lily. Well, no, I guess Aglaonema and Dieffenbachia and Apple Balis. Okay, I lied. Is it the Zen music that's getting you mad? I saw that. I don't know why. Well, I guess you. Definitely not because of the spa music. Maybe it is the spa music. I'm just like, I could just go to sleep listening to it. There are whole college level courses on growing those. It's complicated. Are we talking about fruit or vegetables or just the whole thing when you say that? I don't remember if there was a college class offered for that specifically, for like growing food. But I mean, I went to kind of a satellite campus of the main campus. And so if I could have majored in plant science, I would have. Um, but I could only minor in it. So there were limited courses I was able to take, but I still really valued that experience. It was amazing. Steven says, my Aglaonema pictum arrive after your last live stream and it is looking so cool. Which one? I'll just look it up. I'm gonna yawn again. Whew. Sorry guys. Let's see. Aglaonema pictum. Oh yes. Yes. I really love that specific Aglaonema. Um, I found one, oh, probably in January. I went someplace that was having a houseplant sale and they had some, and it would have been 20% off, I think. But, you know, the plant was kind of small, and even at 20% off, it was still a little expensive. So I don't know. I have a big, oh, it's not back there anymore. I have a big Aglaonema that you guys can't see right over there. It has white stems with like dark green leaves. It's actually really pretty. But I passed on that, the camouflage one. Damn it. Um, oh, interesting. I didn't know they were prone to stem rot. Yeah, the thing is, like, you can get some good deals on Etsy, especially if you don't mind starting from like a smaller plant. I I don't like doing that. That's not my favorite way to get plants. I mean, I showed you guys. Some of you definitely weren't here earlier, but I showed you guys my Sangonium tricolor. Like this was the leaf I salvaged from it, and then like it has a lot of like new baby leaves coming up that are even starting to get variegated. I think I got 4 leaves in there, and it's doing pretty well. But again, not the ideal way that I want to like start with plants because they're just a little more fragile in this state. But I'm glad that I'm able to save this plant from a cutting because the plant itself just didn't do very well. Just because it was a bad specimen, I think. It just wasn't a very good plant. Oh, Vibes Aquatics. Thank you, Vibes Aquatics. Didn't even realize you were watching. I appreciate that. I did do an aquarium, or I'm sorry, I did do an aquatic plant video at one point. I need to kind of get back to that because it's been a while ago, but I would like to touch on aquatic plants again because I think it is an underrated hobby in kind of the plant canon just because of how easy they are to take care of. But thank you. I appreciate that very much. Um, hang on. Let me go back. Okay, yeah, we were talking about. I'm going to just cover that because now you've got me paranoid about it. We were talking about the cutlass. I have an Aglaonema cutlass, but I've noticed that it tends to drop its leaves a little bit more as far as like the bottom leaves tend to turn yellow and want to like fall off. So I don't know why that is, but like the other Aglaonemas that I've had, like that have the bigger, thicker leaves, they tend to do better about not losing those leaves. So I don't know what your experience has been, Mav, as far as that goes, but that's kind of been mine. Next time we should just use the Bluetooth speaker and not turn on the TV, but it's fine. Um, is it done? No. Um, Yeah, well, the little leaves are actually doing very well on that Syngonium, but the one leaf I saved, it's just like I don't know. There we go. You should have seen the original plant. The original plant was not a good cutting at all. So the fact that I saved it is maybe not a miracle, but it's still nice. No way I'm spending $50 on a plant that I've never had before, so I have learned to be patient. I doubt that you can... Yeah, well, something to remember for next time as far as that goes. Uh, I never pay more than $20 for a plant. I have an Aglaonema Pink Aurora and a Lady Valentine. Huh. Oh yeah, Christian. No, they're just ads. Like this is just a channel that's playing, and it just pops up ads of it sometimes. But anyway, I've never heard of Pink Aurora or Lady Valentine, but the Aglaonemas I've seen that are more pink and red, I've had a little more trouble growing, just because when we kind of step back into the science part of it a little bit, and we talk about how it's easier for plants to photosynthesize when their leaves are greener, and some of those Aglaonemas are so beautiful, like the ones that have like the all red or all pink leaves, but they can be a little trickier to keep alive just because of that. So if those are kind of the ones you're talking about, I'm glad that I'm glad that you've been able to keep them alive. I'm starting to lose words, man. Um, Swift says, be prepared to have the Pictum tricolor grow like a different bucket. It would grow tall with the bottom bare stem, unlike the bushy regular ones. Oh, okay. Mav says, my cutlass was thriving. I had it for years. Then a friend sent me a flower arrangement. Uh, it came with thrips. Before I knew it, my cutlass had been cut as though... Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, thanks, Vibes. Yeah, you know, it's just, it's almost like having a little environment in a little box. And I think that that is so neat, being able to have this little sustained ecosystem. And it sounds like you probably have a lot of experience with this, maybe a lot of setups. Mine at the moment is uh, just a little kind of I think it's a 3 gallon or 5 gallon tank. And I have a little beta fish in there. And I just have some of the easier ones like Anubias, and I think I have an Ageria in there, and maybe Echinodorus, like a sword plant. So just some of the easy ones, but they need basically no maintenance. Occasionally I have to rub off the algae or the whatever, but other than that, it's just they're so easy to take care of. I'm just kind of surprised that more people don't have them. But maybe I'll do another aquatic plant video soon, just because I have a lot more followers now than I did then. You know, I guess that's relative, but yeah. You guys are amazing. I swear I have one of the best groups of people on YouTube, I swear. Just because I've just never met so many people that are like me as far as like their passion for plants, loving, you know, the science behind it, and also just loving the care for them. I mean, you guys are all so well rounded. And I think we complement each other so well with our different experiences. And that was another one of my mission statements, is building a community. And I think we've done a really good job of that, actually. Favorite aquatic immersed plant? See you, Christian. Thank you for coming. Always good to see you and talk to you. I'm glad you made it to this one. Just keep an eye out for those shorts because that's when I announce the live streams, but it'll probably be in a couple of weeks. Have a good night. Um, my favorite immersed aquatic plants would be. That's actually a good question. It's hard. It's hard not to love Anubias, right? Because Anubias is so iconic. It's probably the most iconic aquatic plant. But I actually kind of love um, hygro. What was it? Hygro. It's water wisteria, but I can't think of what the genus name is. It starts with H. Hygrophilus, maybe. I think is the genus name for that. But yeah, I think it grows really well, and it can actually take over a tank pretty quick if you don't keep it trimmed. But I just like the look of it. I think it's very planty. You can kind of shape it how you want it. So Athena's finally awake. Right now, I just have one. So I just have the one aquarium that's pretty small, and I don't really like to keep fish, but I do have a betta fish, just because the ease of a planted tank is kind of negated when you start putting a lot of fish in there that poop and everything. Not to say that that's difficult, but it adds another layer of complexity as opposed to when you just don't have fish. What about you? What about you, Vibes? How many tanks, aquariums do you have right now? Well, Leafier, it sounds like Vibes probably has a decent channel, and I did do one video on aquatic plants. If you are scrolling back through my old ones, you might watch it. Um, but I'll probably do another one soon, just because it is an interesting topic, a different side of the houseplant hobby. Because ultimately, they are houseplants, right? We are keeping them in our homes. They're just not terrestrial houseplants. Only 20. That's great. Yeah. Only 20 aquariums as opposed to everybody else that only has like 15, right? That's a lot of aquariums. That's a lot of maintenance. Um, but I mean, I know people that are like really into like reptiles and they'll have like, they'll have a ton of like different lizards and stuff. 7 outdoor ponds. You must have some land. That's pretty cool. Mav says, I mean, you add fish, then you have to follow the nitrogen cycle. Something spikes, which could kill fish. Yeah. Yeah, just because when you start talking about how much waste that fish produce, it gets a little dicey. Just depending on the number of fish and everything, and yeah. Who is that, Athena? Who is that moving around up there? That'd be cool. So for people who don't know, um, betta fish, most of the ones you see are males. They're the ones that are very elaborate. They have the really elaborate colors and fins and everything, but they are solitary creatures. They do not like to be housed together because they will fight to the death. That's why their common name is like Siamese fighting fish, is because they kill each other. But the females can usually get along pretty well. And so when Mav says that he wants to do a sorority tank, he's talking more about housing females together. But you can never house males together. Just no. Even if you have one of those split tanks where like there's one in each, it's still not great for them because they can get stressed out from seeing each other and thinking that they can fight all the time. So it's best just to leave betas alone as they are. Male betas. Yeah, once you learn the nitrogen cycle and you know how to like finesse it, and that's all it's about. It's just about finessing. Really no different than learning to finesse how to water a plant. Like knowing when to water it, what season is it in, how much light is it getting, when to do fertilize. I mean, when we break it down, when I was doing that Houseplant 101 video, I was struggling as I was making it because I'm like, how do I water this down to the point that any person could watch this video who's never experienced houseplant care, and how do I make it to where it's accessible to them? So it was tough for me to be like, I have to start from scratch. And all of these things that we all just naturally know that we've learned, trying to teach somebody that can be a little tricky. But yeah, the nitrogen cycle is no different. Once you know it, it's straightforward. Do you know about Circetes? Well, Asraf, I've actually never heard of that, so I do not know. Are you talking to me? Like, that's a plant, right, or is that a fish? Yeah, you can use aquarium water just because of the nitrogen factor. Like, you can use that to water some plants. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was a plant. You weren't talking about a fish. Uh, yeah, I've never heard of that one, so I don't want to say either way just because I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I have kept, like Mav said, was talking about introducing that one fish can cause chaos. Well, it can cause chaos for a couple of reasons, but I mean, I have had aquariums, like full blown aquariums in the past, and the problem sometimes with buying fish from stores that are maybe not super reputable is that if they have ick or something, that ick will spread to all the other fish and basically kill them. I mean, unless you treat it. But even sometimes the stress of introducing fish to each other can cause um, fish diseases like ick to happen. It's not really a disease necessarily, but yeah. Exactly. Like Vibe said, quarantine new fish. And honestly, I mean, we probably don't do this enough, but really you should quarantine new plants too, at least for a day or two, just to make sure that you don't maybe discover that maybe it has something wrong with it, whether that's like a pest of some sort, or maybe if it has like a spot on it that you didn't see in the store that could be some sort of bacterial or fungal infection. It's just a good idea to just kind of keep an eye on the plant for a day or two before you go putting it on your shelf with all of your other plants. Wow, my arms really like went pew. Well, I mean, Leaf, here to be fair, like, it's a little different when you're a kid because it just seems like a lot more work in general. But maybe as an adult, you might find that it's more appealing or more relaxing. Usworth, that was a very nice way of putting die. I'm waiting for them to finish their lifespan. You're waiting for them to die. Contacted a beta breeder who's growing out the beta fish for me once they reach a certain size. That's smart. See, that's going smart. Going like a private breeder as opposed to buying them at like Petco or something. No offense to Petco, but I mean, you know, it's just those fish spend so much time in those little cups. That's very stressful for them. They're not supposed to be kept in those little containers for very long. Oh, well, yeah, watching them, it can be... Oh, Vibes, don't apologize. Like, no, we've talked about aquatics before a little bit. Maybe not into this much detail, but I mean, you weren't here like an hour ago. We literally spent probably an hour talking about animals and specifically insects. So these live streams tend to derail a little bit from plants, just because most of us here are so passionate about a lot of different things involving nature that we don't always stick to plants. So don't feel bad for digressing us a little bit. We weren't going in any specific direction as it is. Yeah. People have suggested some other names, not for the channel necessarily, but just for like other channels that I could do. Just because I'm surprised we didn't talk anything about like words and language, because that is one of my passions, is languages. And sometimes we end up getting into that. So I'm kind of surprised we didn't, but I got you, brother. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Leaf here. I bring maybe, I mean, I'll bring like plants to the table and I'll have some things like to suggest we can talk about, you know, in case maybe there's not a lot of people or whatever. But for the most part, I just kind of go with the flow. And if I want to talk about something specific, I usually just make a video about it. But yeah. And honestly, my plants for the most part right now are doing good. They're still, you know, dormant. You know, it's not spring yet. I'm not fertilizing. There's just not a lot to report other than the fact that my stupid Hoya multiflora is losing its flowers before they bloom. That's been my biggest drama so far. But it's okay. Are you planning on having guests on panel in the future? Yes. The short answer for that question is yes. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out yet, as far as I don't really know who I want to have with me yet, but yes, that is coming. Something like that. First, we need to get Wes on here, because Wes has only been on here like once, so. You know, Miss Betty, she's another person that does a lot of like, she does more hydroponics than aquatics, but hydroponics and aquatics can go hand in hand. I mean, if you have the right setup, you know, those things can go really well together. Love you. Are you just gaming?
What?
Are you just gaming?
No, I'm doing music.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't go too much longer, probably.
I'm warming up some inside.
Okay. Can you give me a drink real quick? I'm sorry.
What do you want?
I don't know. Nothing with caffeine in it?
Root beer?
Yeah, that's
Bottle of
fine.
beer?
Yes, give me a bottle. Give me a bottle. No wine. We were talking about wine. We were talking about wine earlier. They said that the commercials might not matter. It's if you're playing like a TV show that's like copyrighted.
Oh yeah, no.
This is just advertisement.
Yeah, they don't care if you advertise everywhere. They want to show that on there.
Right. That's how they get more stuff. Also, this is not beer. This is root beer.
It is beer. It's root beer.
Well, yeah, but I just didn't want them to think I cracked open a Bud Light on the channel or something. Steven says, musical guest Wes. Yes. Mav says, did you end up creating a digital space where we can all share pics of our plans? The thing about the digital space is Discord seemed like a popular option that a lot of people were into. So if you guys know about Discord, it's really used a lot for gaming, but it can also be used for like basically as a social media platform. To me, I would maybe rather do Discord than like Facebook. And Discord would be a lot more, I don't know, maybe a lot more accessible somehow. But I don't know Discord. I'm a millennial. Hey, man, I'm a millennial too, man. What are you talking about? I know what Discord is. Millennials made Discord, right? I think. But hang on, let me catch up here. Yeah, hydroponics and aquaponics, very similar, hand in hand. Just one bottle. A bottle of wine, 2 bottles of wine. IBC is my favorite root beer. IBC's okay. I like IBC's cream soda better and their black cherry soda. Their root beer is not my favorite necessarily, but it is good. It is good. I'd say A&W from the tap is my favorite, but you can't find that anymore. Or is it the tap? Yeah. Usruff says, "Oh, I wouldn't mind a drunk live. That would be so funny." Well, you have never seen me drunk, so I don't really drink that much. Like earlier, I said that I really only drink wine sometimes, and even then, we're talking like a glass a week or something. It's just not that much. But it's amusing when I drink. I just don't do it much anymore. You gotta have the right people to party with, right? And as you get older, you don't bounce back from drinking as well, so it's just like, I'm good. Let's see. So Linux, some root beer does have caffeine in it, like Barks root beer does. IBC is caffeine free. A&W is caffeine free. I think Mug is caffeine free. This one actually, I don't know if you guys probably can't read it, but it says caffeine free right there. So that's good because not that I don't stay up late, but I try not to like get that energy too late at night. Let's see. Vibes says, are you planning on having a live stream every week at the same time? Right now, Vibes, I've been doing bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks I'll do a live stream. Normally it's on Sundays, just because I feel like more people can show up on Sundays, although we've had a decent turnout considering. But it's normally Sundays at 7 Central, and it's like every other Sunday. Just because eventually I might do it every week, but right now I've just been doing bi-weekly so people don't get sick of it. But I don't know, we always have a lot of fun when I do these, so maybe I should just start doing them weekly. Let's see. Usruff is a Gen Xer. That's cool. So is my spouse. Yeah, root beer usually doesn't have caffeine. And Mav, like, the A&W restaurants are getting harder to find. Like, it's not as easy as it used to be. And when I do find an A&W, a lot of times they've taken the tap out, like where you can get it from the little like barrel. A lot of them are taking that away, and that was so good. That was the best root beer. Vibes, I do go to plant conventions sometimes. There's not a ton of actual plant conventions where I live. There was one recently. It's more of like a farming kind of home renovation plant convention kind of thing. It's okay. It's not like the best thing. The conventions I've been to, I would almost rather have just gone to like a greenhouse because they just have so many more plants, like a bigger variety, I guess is what I'm getting at. And I've never been to an aquatics convention. I think that'd be fun to go to, like as an experience, but um, it would just, I would need to find one. I would need to find one where I can actually go. 1919 root beer, Esquire. I don't think I've heard of that, but maybe because there's different brands, like kind of offshoot brands of like root beer. There's one that we sell at a grocery store here. I forget what it is. It's like sarsaparilla root beer or something. It's crazy. Um, yeah, Leaf Year PlantCon in Florida. That would be amazing. Like, I would have to go and bring like a van to bring home a bunch of plants because that's what would happen. But yeah, it had a brand new neon monstera. Is it going to be the same color as a neon pothos? I wonder. I don't know. I'm not that impressed by neon pothos. Your true followers will be here every live stream. That's true. I do have. I have a. I probably have maybe 15 or 20 people who consistently either show up here or they comment a lot. Thank you. Or did you want half? Or no, you already got one. Okay. Don't forget your mango. Love you. Hang on, I'm coming. Yeah, vibes. We're in Kansas, so we're right in the middle. Yeah, Leaf Year is from Texas.
Where in Texas is he?
I don't know. Actually, well, Texas is the second biggest state, so. Mav says I bought 2 plants today right before I joined this live stream. Anyone else get any new plants? What were the new plants, Mav? Just out of curiosity. I haven't bought a new plant in probably like a week, just because I've been trying to scale back a little bit. So I've been trying not to bring new plants in unless I'm also going to get rid of a plant, just to kind of, you know. Hamilton, Ontario, outside of Toronto. Sansevieria Moonshine and a Sangonium Pink Perfection, my 13th variety of Sangonium. Moonshine Sansevieria is cool. I love kind of that minty green, kind of creamy color. I had one for a minute. I ended up trading it out for a Sansevieria that is like white striped. But the white stripes kind of make it grow a little bit weird. So it's starting to get very bushy and wide. And I'm considering maybe selling it just because I need something that's maybe going to be a little more upright. And the Moonshine will grow much more upright just because it has more green in it. But yeah. Hey. Also, Mav, I was going to ask you if you have, like most of the varieties of Sangonium are Sangonium podophyllum, right? But then there are a few other species of Sangonium like Etherophyllum, what are, Warneckii? No, that's Dracaena. Which one? There's another Sangonium that's like dark green with the white stripe. Do you have any of those other species, just out of curiosity? Or the red arrow Sangonium is really cool. Vibes asks how our family feels about the plant passion. Map says my family believes I'm way past the passion phase and currently exist in a plant addiction phase. Well, it comes and goes, right? Ahmad says I can't buy new plants unless some perish or got rid of. Yeah. Usrif, sorry. Yeah, that's where I'm at too, actually. I'm just trying to have the right balance of plants. Yes. Yeah. That's the thing too, is like I'll we'll go out of town or something and we'll go visit these greenhouses, and I'm just like, you know, see these plants. I'm like, either I've never tried it before or whatever the case may be. And I'm just like, okay, well, you know, maybe I should just go ahead and try this. Also, I'm curious how my phone battery is holding up, but I don't think I can see. I'm sure it's fine. I could be using the term varieties incorrectly. I'm confused between variety versus type versus cultivar, so I use them interchangeably. I have more of the similar illusion varieties. Your mom supports and enables your plant addiction like any good mother should, right? So that might actually be a video that I make, the difference between the vocab of like the variety versus the cultivar, like getting more into that. Variety is fine, you can just use that term. But the illusion, the different varieties of illusion are all podophyllum. That's all Sangonium podophyllum, because that's the one that they've had the most ability to make those different colors and everything. So when we're talking about like the red arrow Sangonium, it's just that one type of Sangonium. It's that one species. But yeah. And then as far as like how my family feels, well, they don't really have much of an opinion about it, honestly. I mean, Wes is just like, okay, well, let's not overdo it. That's kind of his line with it. Let's not go too crazy with it. I usually just use YouTube right now for my live streams. I could branch into other things eventually, and I probably will once I get there. But for now, YouTube has been sufficient enough for me to do the live streams. It unalived, yeah. The ones I enjoy growing the most are Sangonium, Dark Maria, Silver Pearl, Mojito, and Classic White Butterfly. Yeah, White Butterfly is beautiful. I do like the White Butterfly a lot as well. Right now, the only Sangonium I have, other than that tricolor, the cutting, I have that Ice Frost Sangonium, and I can't remember the species name, but it has the more rounded leaves as opposed to the traditional triangular leaves. It's not Ethereophyllum because I think that's Red Arrow. I think it's like, I don't know. Somebody look it up. It's Ice Frost is the common name though. Yes, and Wes always says, don't get anything that's like unruly. Like I don't want to have these plants that look out of control and chaotic. Mostly with vining plants. Linux asks if I've done a video on botanical Latin. I have not. We have done taxonomy and we've done like plant names, but we have not done actual like a delve into the Latin side of it yet. That probably is a video in the making someplace. I just haven't figured out how I want to do that yet, I guess. That's something. Yes, here's to the future of more live streams and more videos. Right now, as far as like frequency of videos goes, I'm down to probably one a week, maybe two. Especially if I put some shorts in there, it's probably just one major video a week. Just because I pushed so hard to get that plant anthology completed, and now that I've done that, I feel like I can focus more on making very detail-oriented, specific videos that take longer to edit. So I'm not putting out like 3 of those a week. You know what I mean? Like, because you know Wes, he can only edit so much at a time, right? Because it is a process. Yeah, Mav. Okay, maybe that is the name I was looking for. But it does look very philodendron-like, but very different from a philodendron in the sense that it does need more water and more humidity helps too. But you already know that because you already have all these Sangoniums. But yeah, it is getting cold down here in this room, though, you guys. Ugh. Valentine's Day Reese's. One of the perks at working at Walmart is that you get like first dibs on clearance candy. Love it. Okay, macrophyllum is actually the one I've heard in the past as far as that Sangonium goes. But of course, you know, a rose by any other name, I suppose. But yeah, macrophyllum. Thank you for helping me remember that because I couldn't remember it. Well, vibes, I think I might look into that. One reason I only do these every couple of weeks right now, too, is that they usually run a little bit long. But I think what I might do is start it a little bit later, because usually I start at 7. I might switch to like 8 when maybe there's more people around, and then just run it for like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, depending on the night. But yeah. But if I do it every week, like I said, I would just have a set time for it. Yeah, so Sangoniums, they're easy to care for once you know, I guess, kind of a little bit of how to care for them. Would I say that they're a beginner plant? Probably not, just because they do need a little bit more frequent watering, just because they do grow in places that are maybe not semi-aquatic, but they grow in kind of wetter places. They don't like drying out necessarily. Gabriella Plant says macrophyllum. I think it is macrophyllum, but I've heard the other one before too. You, you guys do not want to see me dance. Mm-mm-mm. You're sooner gonna get me in front of that keyboard. Oh, I guess you can't see it, but my keyboard's back there. Maybe eventually I'll play you guys a song, but a TikTok dance. Well, there's a new one every week, it seems like. I don't really get on TikTok that much, but I know that those are popular. Linux, I've been trying to talk Wes into doing ballroom dancing. Like, I think it would be so much fun to go and learn like just a classical like waltz, you know what I mean? And just be able to, I don't know, that just feels so cultured somehow, being able to do something like that. See, you guys need to talk him into it. Yeah, vibes. It's similar. Like, I've never done that, like the flood and drain, but I kind of use that analogy when I'm talking about like caring for palms, because palms, they like to get wet like frequently and then like dry out. But it's like a dilation where they like it frequently, as opposed to other plants that they like to be soaked and then allowed to dry out over a period of time. Like palms kind of like that a little bit more frequently. So one of the reasons that palms can be difficult to take care of is because they start to turn brown, just because they're not getting watered often enough. It's not so much the amount of water, but it's the frequency that they're not getting. So have a good night, vibes. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for hanging out with us. It was nice meeting you. Hope to see you at the next one. I will make an announcement when I make the next one. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't realize, I guess, that Sangoniums were a little more sensitive to being repotted, but I could see that now that I think about it, because I think that macrophyllum I have, when I put it in a new pot, it did kind of suffer a little bit. Hoya are pretty well known for like having very sensitive roots, but yeah. Oh, I gotta stretch, you guys. I've been sitting for a while. Oh, goodness gracious. And the thing is too, like just kind of continuing to talk a little bit about palms. I love palms. I talked earlier about how I really like the beach and like the tropics and everything. And palms are like the, epitome of that, right? But some of them are just so hard to take care of. And I've dropped more money than I'm going to say out loud on some palms. And they did not turn out very well. They were not successful. So, yeah. Has it been 3.5 hours? I normally wouldn't have ran this long, but it just started picking up, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this. Uh, the next time I'll probably start at 8. I'll start just a little bit later. 7 seems a little bit early. Especially like people on the West Coast, it would only be 5, so they're probably still at work. um, but yeah. Usrif, were you there when we were talking about my curtains? About how they look like funeral curtains? I swear that's the next thing I'm gonna do when I get a little bit more money is like probably change out those curtains because they are hideous. I don't know if you guys can see them. You can see them a little bit. Like they just look like they're in a funeral home. No offense to the lady that lived here before me. The other thing about them is they're really, really like dense and heavy, and they don't really need to be that heavy because I open them every day, right? I close them at night and I open them so the plants can get sunlight. Well, Wes opens them because he's up in the morning. I'm not. But yeah, I don't know, they're just really ugly. But yes, thank you for the compliment on the living room. Thank you for that. We just wanted to show you guys a little bit more of the house. I feel like I've done most of my videos in the dining room in front of my plant shelf, and after a while, that gets boring. Yeah, Athena's really chill. Her sister Spice is a crybaby. Cries when she wants food, cries when she wants outside, even though I don't really let them outside, but she thinks that she can be let outside. Um, it just doesn't, yeah, she's just a crybaby, but it's okay. I still love her. Elphaba goes naughty. No, but I mean, I do love that painting. We got it at a furniture store. Um, you guys may not have been here earlier when I told that story, but like, we used to shop at this furniture store a lot because we kept winning like contests and things and getting like free money. And one time we had it was like a $500 gift certificate, which isn't really enough to buy a piece of furniture. And we always saw this painting when we would go up the escalator, and it was kind of tucked away in a corner where nobody went. And Wes was like, "Oh, I just love that painting so much." So finally, I'm like, "Well, we have this free money and we have to spend it. Like, why not let's just get that painting? It's a neat painting. Like, it's thought provoking. How about that? We'll call it that." Grinch vibe. I mean, that's true. Carmen Miranda. Yeah. I just always thought she makes me think like when I see her, I think she's at a greenhouse and she saw a plant that she really wants, and she's like, how am I going to explain to my husband how much money is coming out of the bank? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I envision. I've had that look before, actually. Because like sometimes I've gone into a greenhouse and Wes will be like, I'll just sit in the car. Like it's fine. I don't need to go in. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go in and I'll just kind of be exploring and I'll be like, oh man, there's a plant. That's one that I think it looks cool. And then I'll end up with like 3 or 4 plants in my arm and I'm just like, I just came in to look. How am I gonna rationalize this? How am I gonna explain this when I come walking out of here with this armload of plants? I can totally find room on my shelf for that plant, yeah. It's not shelf space. Well, it's a little shelf space for me, but some of it's just that I don't have enough like good lighting. That's why I've been trying to scale back a little bit, but she's definitely not thinking about plants, I feel. Well, we'll leave that open to interpretation, Matt. Maybe she's not. Yeah, Linux, I could see Audrey Hepburn with that. It does give, if her hair especially was brown, like it does give like breakfast at Tiffany's vibes. Especially if she had like the cigarette that was like attached to the little plastic thing. I just came to look is the greatest lie of every single plant collector that has ever, every single plant collector's ever told. Yeah.
Nothing gives away your age like thinning skin. For me, it's
Tammy
all
Brown
about
from
Select
Drag
Care
Race. I'll have to look
Plus.
that up.
Now you can help restore and rejuvenate thinning, fragile skin with Dermen Fragile Skin Daily Moisturizing Formula.
Honestly, like I saw on the website that another Walmart in the city had marked down a bunch of their plants, and they have basically the same stuff that I have at my store, but I was like, I wonder how much they marked them down, and I considered going by there, and Wes was like, no, you don't go by just to look at clearance plants. You go by to buy clearance plants, and I'm like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I won't go. You get them when they're not home. When they ask if it's a new plant, you just say, I am not going to say either way on whether or not I've done that. uh, but you always, have the I had to buy it. It was on sale. That's true. I don't know if you know, Steven, you might know because I think you said you were a little older than me. If you know the comedian Gallagher, he did a great bit on shopping. Like he was making a bit about women and shopping, and you know, he was like, imitating when he's like, oh, we were gonna have to have it anyway. You should be grateful that I found it. And he just goes to the audience and he goes like this, like he's trying to get them to say something, and all the women are just like on sale. And he's like, see, did I hold up a cue card and tell them what to say? Like they just know it. It's in their DNA. Come on, Teletubbies, teleport us to Mars. What? Leaf here says, if I go to look for a plant, can't find it anywhere. I just need some soil. No plants. So many plants I need right then and there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so like earlier when I said the next time I go out, like to look for a plant, I was gonna maybe look for a fatsia, and now I won't find one. Even though I've gone several times and there's like a whole table of fatsias, and I'm just like, okay. But yeah, now I won't find one. Read the book Confessions of a Shopaholic. You're actually saving money if you buy them on sale. That sounds like a title of a good book, actually. Confessions of a Shopaholic. I mean, honestly, too. I mean, just kind of talking about like what Leaf here said. Like, I feel, I feel as though at least half of the plants that I've gotten are not necessarily ones that I was like setting out to get, but I stumbled across them and I was like, wow, that's a really cool plant. You know, I really want to try that. And then I buy it and it's successful, so then I just keep it, right? But it's never, you know, I didn't really set out to buy like this Hoya, for instance. You know, I would have probably just overlooked this plant altogether, but my friend that was with me was like, oh no, you should totally buy that. And then now it's not going to flower, but it's fine. Plant girl math. Um, yeah, I have no way of looking at the battery life on my phone. Let's say, let's say 5 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this up. Because I really don't know how much battery life my phone has, and it is getting a little bit late here. I still have a couple things I need to do kind of before I wind down. You know, one reason I haven't been super focused on the Instagram right now, because I do need to get like my Instagram updated for the plant channel, is that I finished writing my first novel last year, and it's something I've been working on for a long time. And now I'm kind of in the editing phase where I'm trying to edit it and get it hopefully sent out to be published this year. And that's taken up a portion of my mental energy, just because that's a project from a long time ago. Wow, that is actually plant girl math. So if it's kind of a coming of age novel, exploring like relationships between like males, not like necessarily romantic relationships. I mean sometimes, but you know, just you know, friends and you know, family. Just I feel like there's a lot of depth to the male like emotional side that doesn't get explored a lot in popular culture. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that, I guess. Mav says sometimes I'll see a plant at a store and it's the only one of the kind that is left. So I think you're lonely. You need to with an amateur. You'll die. I mean, so actually using Leafier says that she does that too. Yeah. So this Tenanthe right here that you guys can see that's kind of starting to get big and wide. We got a shipment at work, and we got a whole bunch of most of the plants that come in that size of pot are like monsteras and snake plants and oh gosh, what else? Majesty palms. But there was one Tenanthe like that, and I've never seen a Tenanthe that big before. Most of them are smaller just because they're not the easiest plants to take care of. But I'm like, you're the only one. You're coming home with me. So I bought it, and there it is, and it's actually doing well. It's a couple of the leaves have a little bit of brown on the tip, but I mean that's kind of just to be expected when you're talking about prayer plants. Steven says, fraternal love, some men feel like they cannot be sensitive or care for another man because that makes them gay. Yeah, well, and that's, you know, that's one of the themes in the book. You know, and even beyond that, like, you know, can like straight men and gay men be like good friends? Like, can you develop like a good friendship there? Maybe. You'll have to read it and see. So Timothy Chalamet plays the lead character. I'll watch the movie of the book when it's out. How old is he? I wonder. How long is it going to take me to make it a movie? Thank you, Linux. Yes. Well, Mav, it's not published yet. It's getting close. Like I'm working on my third draft now, and I'm planning on that being my final draft until I send it off. And if a publisher sends it back and they have notes for it, then I'll do another draft. But this is kind of my final one. So within the next month or so, I'm preparing to actually send it off and hopefully get it published. But we'll see. Where can you buy it? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully someplace easy like Amazon. Uh-oh, Wes is leaving. That's going to be my cue to go to bed too. Well, not go to bed, but at least go get him tucked in. And thank you, Mav. Yeah, I'm like, people do things for different reasons, and I'm writing this book because I want to bring attention to the subject. I'm not looking to like write the next Twilight or anything and make bajillions of dollars. I want people to read it and be like, huh, I guess I never looked at that like that before, especially men, you know what I mean? I want men to read it and be like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, I've never told my friend I love him. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, life's too short not to, but yeah, we'll see. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We've been at this for almost 4 hours, actually. This might be my longest stream I've done. In lieu of not having as many videos that I'm making, because like I said, I'm doing like a video, maybe 2 videos a week. We might start doing these weekly now, just so that you guys can keep interacting, you know what I mean? Like, I want to still be able to interact with you guys and everything. So I don't think once a week is a bad idea, especially if we kind of cut it back a little bit to maybe like 2 hours, just so it doesn't suck up too much of everybody's time. But I really do love doing these with you guys. We've been having great conversations. We've talked about so much, and only half of it had to do anything with plants, or had anything to do with plants. So, Mav, I had the opposite experience. Like, I always seemed to repel straight guys. Like, they would just avoid me. So most of my friends were women growing up, and that's changed now as an adult. But it's still, I can still safely say I've never had like a great connection with a straight guy, like a very genuine, like loving connection. I've never had that. Take that as it is, I guess. But Asraf says, enjoy. Asraf, if this channel took off tomorrow, I've got a list of about 20 names that I would always return a comment to no matter what. And so don't worry about that. You are on that list. Yes, thank you, Leafier. Thank you for stopping by. Well, not stopping by. You were here the whole time. Thank you for spending some time with me. Yeah, Mav says 2 hours is still shorter than a vlog. Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, Steven, have a great weekend. Lennox, thank you. Thank you for dropping in. It was good meeting you. All the new people that showed up, even if you guys didn't comment, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. Hopefully you guys had fun. Just look out for like a short announcing the next one. We'll see if we can't set up like a consistent time and everything. But it really means so much to me getting to talk to you guys and interact with you guys. I have a lot of fun with this. Yeah, thank you. So until the next video, I will see you guys very soon. Thank you. Have a good night, guys. Love you guys.